first time we're doing this event. We have done this several times in the past all over the country. We've been in fact playing this video for a while now and request our team to of course, we're able to early this Friday morning and being a part of this summit. For those of you who are new to our initiative, networking opportunities. So that is the reason why we put this event together. It's the 18th time we have brought this event together, and so on and so forth. And as I pointed out, our aim for this initiative is to highlight the pertinent and important issues. A capitalist endeavor as well. There has to be an element of socialism and an element of business and profit, so on and so forth. So that's a bit of a contradiction and a bit of a dichotomy contributing towards enhancing the society. So it's a tricky one, not easy to find that balance, but that's something that we have. That is the Chief Executive Officer of Chandan Hospitals. Dr. Raj, please welcome on stage. And our panelists are Dr. Madhulika Singh, who is the chairperson of KNS Memorial Institute of Medical Sciences. Dr. Madhulika, can you please come forward? Yeah. We also have Dr. Pranjal Agarwal, who is the director of Nirvan Institute of Mental Health and Allied Sciences in Lucknow, and he's also the secretary of the Hospital Board of India and Indian Medical Association in Lucknow. Dr. Pranjal, can we please welcome you on the stage? Please help me also welcome Dr. Anju Goel, who's the chairperson of the Goel Super Specialty Hospital. Dr. Anju Goel, please welcome on stage. A warm welcome. Dr. Sandeep Kapoor, who's the founder, chairman, and founder director of Health City Vistar. Thank you very much, Dr. Sandeep Kapoor. Please welcome on stage. Dr. Mayank Mohan Agarwal, who's the director and head of urology, Apollo Medics Super Specialty Hospital. Dr. Mayank. And finally, please help me also welcome on stage Dr. Gayatri Singh, who's the director of Ma Chandrika Devi Institute of Paramedical Sciences and the hospital as well. Dr. Gayatri. All right. So, Dr. Raj, the stage is yours. We have set the context in a way, but I'm sure you'll do a better job at helping us tackle this intricate issue. The stage is yours. Please take it away.
On the guys, I think you're missing some of the people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope we can, because the experience here is also good enough, because we have people who are running hospitals for a long time, who've got a lot of work done. There's supreme clinicians as well as running hospitals. It's a very difficult field to do both things at once. Usually, multitasking, they say, is quite difficult, but people on the stage here are doing a lot of that. Navigating profitability and social responsibility, of course, is a tough job, and I think it's unique to healthcare, to the healthcare industry. We have to do both jobs. Especially private hospitals, we've earned, sometimes we earn a bad name saying that you're profit oriented, but everybody needs to understand what is profit being used for. If you compare industries, the EBITDA margins of most industries are similar, including the healthcare. But when you look at the net profit margins, they're very little in the healthcare industry compared to other industries. The reason being, a lot of the money that the company earns goes back into the hospital to buy new equipment, to start new services, to ensure that you get more patients. This is a never-ending process. So you have a lot of money coming in which the public sees, but you don't see what happens with that money. What happens with that money is to make sure that better services are provided. I've sat on a lot of management committees. I am the CEO of a large hospital chain, and our aim has always been how to utilize the money to make the hospital stronger, to receive more patients, to give better services, to ensure that we reach a larger population of patients. So that is where we stand, and today I think we should start addressing that mics. Don't have mics.
Oh, mics please.
So the mental health and allied sciences. Very challenging role, I feel, because it's not easy, because the social impact that such a center creates is huge, and it is a very forgotten area of healthcare. And I would like to ask you, sir, how do you maintain and sustain, your profitability while also addressing the social impact? Because I do feel that the patients that you might be receiving are, it's a family issue more than a patient issue for you. So you're addressing families. How do you maintain and sustain your business?
वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट। आज तक मुझसे क्वेश्चन किसी ने पूछा नहीं, मतलब ये तो कई लोगों ने कहा आपका बहुत अफोर्डेबल है सेटअप, लेकिन किसी ने ये नहीं पूछा कि फिर आप मैनेज कैसे करते हैं। तो थैंक यू फॉर आस्किंग मी दिस क्वेश्चन। मेंटल हेल्थ केयर बिफोर कोविड एंड आफ्टर कोविड में बहुत फ़र्क है। बिफोर कोविड में एक बहुत बड़ा टैबू था, लोग साइकेट्रिक हॉस्पिटल में साइकेट्रिस्ट के पास जाने से पहले 15 बार सोचते थे कि हम जाएं ना जाएं, लोग क्या सोचेंगे, समाज क्या सोचेगा। पर कोविड ने चीज़ें काफ़ी चेंज की हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी ने काफ़ी हेल्प किया है, लोगों ने टेली कंसल्टेशंस को ऑप्ट किया, फिर वो जाने लगे और अब धीरे धीरे इंडिया में भी लोग एम्ब्रेस कर रहे हैं मेंटल हेल्थ केयर को प्रॉपरली। हम कॉस्ट की बात करें तो हम लोगों का अपना उद्देश्य रहता है कि किसी भी हेल्थ केयर सेटअप में 3 चीज़ें बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट हैं जो सबको ध्यान देना चाहिए: दवाई, सफाई और सुनवाई। डॉक्टर गायत्री मैम इज हियर।
Sunny. Please welcome Dr. Gayatri Singh. She is the director of Maa Chandrika Devi Institute of Paramedical Sciences and the hospital.
सो जब आप दवाई पर, सफाई पर और सुनवाई पर, तीनों चीज़ों पर अगर बराबर ध्यान देने की कोशिश करेंगे किसी भी हेल्थ केयर सेटअप में, तो आमतौर पर उसमें कोई विशेष दिक्कत नहीं आएगी अगर किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का इन 3 चीज़ों पर विशेष ध्यान है। और इसमें बराबर इवॉल्व करते रहना ज़रूरी है कि आपके यहाँ जो सबसे न्यूअर टेक्नोलॉजीज़ हैं, न्यूअर ट्रीटमेंट्स हैं, उनको आप अडॉप्ट करते रहें, उनको आप अपने यहाँ लाते रहें, क्योंकि now patients are more informed, families are now more involved, and healthcare is more or less getting more personalized. So what we feel is कि आपको patient oriented setups बनाने पड़ेंगे कि अगर वहाँ पर कोई जिसकी अफोर्डेबिलिटी कम है उसके लिए भी व्यवस्था हो, और जिसकी अफोर्डेबिलिटी अच्छी है, वो कैन अफोर्ड, उसके लिए भी हो। सो लाइक हमने जो अपने सेटअप में किया, मैं उसका एक एग्जांपल दे सकता हूँ कि हमारे यहाँ ट्रीटमेंट 1 से 1,500 रुपये पर डे से लेकर 5 से 6,000 रुपये पर डे तक की सारे रेंजेस में है। तो नाउ द ट्रीटमेंट इज़ ऑब्वियसली सेम अक्रॉस ऑल द सेटिंग्स, पर जो भी चेंजेस आएंगे वो एकोमोडेशंस में, जो अरेंजमेंट्स हैं उन्हीं में आते हैं। तो अगर आप सबके लिए कुछ ना कुछ बना सकते हैं तो कॉस्ट पूरी हो जाती है, कोई ऐसी दिक्कत नहीं।
थैंक यू सर। मैं यूजली लोग कंपेयर करते हैं कि हॉस्पिटल्स और होटल्स को कंपेयर करते हैं। इट्स अ वेरी रॉन्ग कंपैरिजन आई फील। A better comparison would be to compare a hospital to say a train. ट्रेन में फर्स्ट क्लास भी होता है, ट्रेन में सेकंड क्लास भी होता है, ट्रेन में जनरल कंपार्टमेंट्स भी होते हैं। तो बट द ट्रेन इज गोइंग टू द सेम डेस्टिनेशन, रन बाय द सेम ड्राइवर, या प्लेन में हो। तो आई थिंक दैट इज अ बेटर comparison rather than like what I said, you should have a range of services.
Yes.
The same services provided at a different rate.
Yes.
My next question will be to Anju ma'am. She's a part of she is the chairperson of the Goel Super Speciality Hospital, but she's also part of a large business family. So my question would be, how does your business family help, say in CSR activities or sustaining your marketing plan?
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Now I just want to tell you that since I belong to a very big business family, they have always supported us. My vision to have and support the community and provide them with best services, like we are catering with Ayushman Bharat and some government schemes. And despite of developing a very good quality healthcare, we are also giving accessible and cost-effective services to the community which I am catering. We are actually developed the setup in Anora Kala, Lucknow, which is a rural urban area. It's not entirely like Lucknow. तो वहाँ पे बहुत सारे, it is surrounded by so many villages, and there is a eastern belt like places like Barabanki, Bahraich, Gonda, Basti, Shravasti, and all these cities and all these small places, actually they are not having some super specialized services. So to give them the best of the services, and they are very small units and small outreach setups where no quality is always compromised. So I had a vision to bring quality with best care. And so my father-in-law, Mr. Adilal Agarwal ji, and my husband Anup Goyal ji, who is here, they have supported me in fulfilling my vision. And now we have achieved all the empanelments and all the things which are important to have a good quality, like NABH and all the accreditations. And I know quality, to maintain quality and give accessible treatment, cost effective, is a difficult thing. But it is always the matter of trust, which is built over years, and the outcomes which we are giving. I am trying to give the best outcomes. Like we are working on like readmissions ना हो, patients को infection ना हो, patients को अच्छे health packages मैं provide कर सकूँ. क्योंकि सबसे पहले कोई आता है तो हमारा front staff should be very smart to give good, tell them the clarity of the expense they have to do in the hospital. तो patient अब बहुत cost पे work कर रहा है. There is no liquid amount in the market, so everything is like the marketing strategies, everything smart should be smart, so that we can हम लोग थोड़ा survive कर सकें and we can bring the best to the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My next question would be to Chairman of Health City Group. My question, sir, would be, you have expanded in a large way recently. What were the challenges that you faced in this expansion process? Because what happens is people don't understand that expansion requires a lot of effort, not only effort, a lot of funds as well. And you know, when people say that, see somebody expanding, of course they say that, oh, because of certain things that they're able to expand, but I would like to understand from you how difficult the journey was for the expansion of your group, and what you felt and why you needed to expand.
Thank you, Dr. Rajgopal. So, I don't know about the audience. It appears to be a very diverse audience. And since this being our first session, and I'm been to a number of sessions, not like this, but academic conferences, this is the best time when you can share your thoughts or views. You hardly have any audience, it's more or less a drawing room talk. So, what I feel is, as far as challenges are concerned, the word which is presently being used is a dogpreneur. And dogpreneurship is because of the corporates coming up. And it's very good. We call ourselves as a homegrown model. So being born and brought up in Lucknow, I'm 16. So spending only 3-4 years out of Lucknow, it's been around 56 years of Lucknow. So I understand the pulse of the city, that is one. The second part is, our model is an equity-based model. So we are insiders into the field. Doctors are true insiders into the field. We understand each and everything. Dr. Anil Khanna is sitting, Dr. Urshan is sitting. They will definitely ditto me. The cost of a operation theatre in setups can be up to a CR or 2 CR, and the same setup we can do it in around, say, 15-20 lakhs, 10 lakhs. And this is what I say. So the basic theme of your workshop, that is navigating profitability, if you are going to spend less, definitely your margins are going to be more. That is one. The second part is, ours is a doctor's owned model. So our team leader is an investor. It's an open secret and everyone understands. And when I was starting this model, everyone was thinking that I am out with a bowl and asking for money. Doctors, they used to be afraid of me and they never used to come close to me. ये आएंगे तो ये पैसा मांगेंगे. See, I tell you, today it has turned into a success story in terms of coming up. Struggles are there, this being the first year. So I'm very openly sharing my views despite being there are different rumors being taken over or whatever they are going around. And we'll prove it that we are underdogs and we'll prevail. And let that time come. So it's better not to speak. That regarding challenges, I'm telling you, this is one of the challenges.
Yes.
So you are a person who's coming up is being tried to destabilize it so that he doesn't come up, because this was the only model these hospitals they came up. I shouldn't be talking. There is definitely a doctor behind every hospital. Every model there has been a doctor. So the challenges which we faced was initially definitely fundraising. Fundraising is a big challenge. If you are especially coming up and expanding a hospital like this, then the presence of established players. They are having much established resources. So if I go and try to do something somewhere, they just buy it out. So I am slow and steady in the sense, एक कछुए की चाल पे चलते चलते हम लोग धीरे धीरे अपना काम कर रहे हैं. And with the trust, I feel that eventually it will come up. So challenge was fundraising. Then definitely compliances is a very big challenge, especially in a city like Lucknow. If you are coming up with a setup, compliance is a very big challenge. Getting permissions, they talk about single window, you never find a single window. So I have been into different government sessions. अभी भी मैं बताऊंगा आप लोग के साथ कि जो ये डॉक्टर उच्चम भी उसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे थे, ये जो बायलॉज फॉर्मुलेट हो रहे थे गवर्नमेंट के, so I was part of it. And I had given my suggestions when the hospital came up regarding FAR and everything, what should be ideally done, that it should be an unlimited FAR, setbacks and all that. So I was a part of it. So I was in touch with the government and I had given up my views exactly what should happen. To the extent कि जैसे अगर आप एक अस्पताल बना रहे हो, उसके बगल का प्लॉट खाली है. मैंने ये भी कहा था, हम अगर उस प्लॉट को परचेज करते हैं, वो लैंड यूज तो उसका हॉस्पिटल नहीं है. That land use is residential. We went into the micro part of it. That the moment I purchased that land, it should be charged back. So, एक तो part ये है. So it's not like building up a hospital and sustaining it. It's not like spending money. कि आप पैसा खर्च कर रहे हो, आप सब चीज़ खरीद लो. It's a smart spending. It's a smart spending and we try to spend smart. हम जानते हैं कि हमारा मरीज को मैंने एक्सरे लिखा एज एन ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जन. हमने तो उस समय से स्टार्ट किया था जिस टाइम पे एक्सरे का हमने अपने लैटरल व्यू, जिसको अगर कोई डॉक्टर सर्जन होगा समझेगा, एक्सरे का करना सिखाया था कि एक्सरे टेक्नीशियन एक्सरे कैसे करे. तो हम लोग को उस लेवल तक मालूम है कि एक्सरे फिल्म हम जा करके एक्सरे डेवलप कर लेते थे वहाँ पर खड़े होकर. तो इतनी चीज़ों को जानने के बाद आप एक स्मार्ट स्पेंडिंग कर सकते हो कि वेटिंग टाइम कहाँ पर है, कहाँ पर वो मरीज खड़ा होगा, ये कोई नहीं जान सकता. मैनेजमेंट पीपल दे कैन नॉट नो इट. ये एक्सरे करने जाएगा, उसको टाइम एक्सरे करने में पहले एक्सरे का पैसा जमा करेगा, फिर वो एक्सरे कराएगा, फिर वो वापस लगाएगा. इसको टैट बोलते हैं. दैट इज द टर्न अराउंड टाइम. आई एम नॉट नोइंग इट. आई एम कमिंग टू नो फ्रॉम पीपल.
But you know that there was something like
मुझे ये मालूम है कि ये चीज़ होती है, मरीज को दिक्कत होती है, ये सब हमें रिड्यूस करना है. तो डॉक्टर के एंड से और पेशेंट के एंड से हम दोनों की समस्याएं समझते हैं, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने सालों की इस पर 30 साल दे चुके हैं उसको. सेकेंड इज डॉक्टर्स अर्न मॉडल. तो आई अर्न फ्रॉम माई प्रोफेशनल फील्ड. मैंने सर्जरी की, मैंने प्रोफेशनल फील्ड में बिस्तर के चार्ज में मेरा ध्यान ही नहीं है, इन्वेस्टिगेशन में नहीं है, फार्मेसी पे नहीं है. तो ऐसे में क्या होगा, जो हम पैसा कमाएंगे हम वापस अस्पताल में लगाएंगे. सो वॉट एवर वी अर्न, एक डॉक्टर का मॉडल में वापस पैसा अस्पताल में जाएगा. एंड दिस इज समथिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. थर्ड इज आई डेफिनेटली एग्री, जो कॉर्पोरेट्स का, दैट इज दे आर इन्वेस्टिंग जीनियसेस, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर्स, एवरीवन बीइंग देयर. और उसका जो एक पार्ट है, दैट इज दे हैव डेफिनेटली रिड्यूस्ड द डिजिटल पार्ट, द AI, दैट इज अगेन अ फिनोमिनल स्पेंड. उसका कोई अंत नहीं है कि आप AI में कितना पैसा खर्च कर दो. वो उनका एक एज, डेवलपिंग एप्स, विजिबिलिटी आउटसाइड. सो इसमें ये हम लोग भी कोशिश करते हैं कि जितने आप ये चीज़ करोगे, मैन पावर कम होगी, आपके खर्चे कम होंगे. तो खर्चे कम होंगे तो पहली बात तो हमारा प्रॉफिट है। आपको ये क्लाइंट का तो आंसर ये है कि हम लोग का दिमाग प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी में नहीं है। वी विश टू सस्टेन, नंबर वन, वी विश टू सस्टेन, देयर इज नथिंग इन प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी। और जो लास्ट पॉइंट हम कहेंगे दैट इज कल्चर। कल्चर विंस ट्रस्ट। तो अगर आप जैसे कहते हैं ना, अगर किसी अफसर के पास आदमी पहुंच जाता है, उसको तंग नीचे के लेवल पे किया जाता है, अफसर के पास पहुंचने के बाद वो खुश हो जाता है। तो हम लोग को ये सिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं कि आप विनम्रता रखिए, बी अवेलेबल। अगर हमने कल्चर ऐसा डेवलप कर दिया जिससे जनता का ट्रस्ट हमारे ऊपर आ गया, उस लॉयल्टी से हम सब निकल जाए। सो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी की अगर बात की जाए वो इन सब के साथ थे, और ये सब हमारे चैलेंजेस थे। अब जैसे चैलेंजेस का आप ये मानिए कि डॉक्टर्स की इतना बड़ा ग्रुप है, तो ये हमसे ये बात थी कि जब हमने 10 साल पहले एक डॉक्टर्स के ग्रुप को मना करके एक अस्पताल बना दिया, सबसे पहला सवाल था ये सब लड़ जाएंगे आपस में, दे विल फाइट। वी प्रूव्ड इट। 2013 से हमारा मॉडल खड़ा है, 2025 में। इसका मतलब क्या है? चैलेंज क्या था? इंटरपर्सनल रिलेशनशिप। सो यू हैव टू डेवलप एन इंटरपर्सनल रिलेशनशिप। व्हाट आई पर्सनली फील इज कि जो एक नॉर्मल जीवन आदमी जीता है, इसको जीता रहे, अपने थॉट्स पे काबू करे, इधर उधर कि उसने ये कहा, ये सब चीज़ें चलती रहती हैं। आई हैव टू इग्नोर अ नंबर ऑफ इश्यूज एंड देन आई स्टे एज अ कॉमनर। आई नेवर बिहेव दैट आई एम द चेयरमैन और TMD ऑफ द ग्रुप। इट्स अ राउंड टेबल, सो आई मिक्स विद पीपल एंड आई स्टे। इफ यू फाइंड मी इन द हॉस्पिटल, यू विल फाइंड मी एज अ वर्कर। मैं यहाँ से उठ के जाऊँगा, मैं परफॉर्म क्लिनिक, हमारे लोग बैठे हुए हैं, मैं अपनी क्लिनिक करता हूँ, मैं दिन में आफ्टरनून में परफॉर्म करता हूँ। ये सब चैलेंजेस आते हैं। इससे दिक्कत क्या होती है? हमारे लोग ये भी कहते हैं कि आप सब चीज़ डॉक्टर साहब आप खुद देखोगे तो कैसे करोगे? तो इनिशियली एक्सपेंडिचर कम होता है। दूसरा, हम लोग लोगों को गाइड करेंगे। हमारा मतलब इफ आई फील दैट आई एम लिविंग अ सेकंड कर्व, व्हाटएवर विजडम आई हैव टू शेयर विद माय जूनियर्स। प्रॉब्ली आई हैव सेड इनफ। Otherwise,
Sir, thank you, sir. I think what the takeaway for me is what sir said about profitability and sustainability. I think it's more about sustainability and not profitability. And of course, sir's experience is there. He's got vast experience as a clinician and also as an administrator. And I would like to welcome Dr. Upsham Goel. He's I think we missed you.
It's late.
Sorry. So, Dr. Upsham Goel is the director of DCI Center, managing director. My next question would be to Dr. Mayank Agarwal. He's the director of the urology unit in Apollo Medics. What I've known as an administrator is the urology department uses a lot of technology. Our robot is used mostly by the urology department. Our 4D laparoscopes are used by the urology department. How difficult or how easy is it for you to negotiate with the management? Because there are two things in this. You're negotiating with them.
Okay, Rohit, thank you very much for being a part of our short interview. Our viewers are here. Here's our viewers. So for the benefit of our viewers, could you start by introducing yourself with a little bit about yourself and of course your company and what you do? So
I'm Rohit Joshi from Astral Pipes. I'm looking after technical sales support, and we from Astral Pipes are participating in this event. From last we have done 3 events together, and it is very useful because when we consider any healthcare infrastructure, so it is very much important to consider. I will relate it with the health of the person. It is like a building is there, and building's health is also very much important. So when we consider our product with relation to this healthcare conclave, so it becomes very much important to use very good quality pipes for water supply, for drainage, and different type of fire sprinkler applications. So it will means what we can add here ki a good quality product like ours is very much useful in case of maintaining the health of that particular building. It is means you can relate it with it. So yes, and we also got a good audience. Some of the doctors first time I gone through the different doctors what we can say conference, and it is very much useful, very much learning is there, and we can say ki it is a collaborative event, means we are also getting benefits, and at the same time the people who are looking after infrastructure of any particular hospital or healthcare building, that is also very much important.
the kind of doctors that you, the kind of doctors, executives that you met, do you think that there's an opportunity for you to explore business opportunities with those doctors?
Yeah,
and those
business
hospitals?
opportunity is obviously there, because we are manufacturing different type of pipes like D-Rex for underground drainage. And when we consider particularly a hospital segment, so we have one pipe, it is called as PEX A Pro, and it is very much useful and recommended for dialysis water application. So we are highlighting that particular application here. And also in hospital, fire sprinklers are very much important. We have IS certified Fire Pro products, which can be used, and it can be used for renovation as well without disturbing the what we can say operation of the hospital. So in this case, Fire Pro is also very much important. Then we have Silencio in hospital. Operation theaters are there, and what I can say, noise is very much important. Noise should not be there in the hospital. So we have a Silencio pipe which is eliminating the noise of the drainage pipes, or what we can say drainage water running through the pipe. For regular PVC piping, there can be a noise coming through the pipes and through the walls. So in this case, in our Silencio, it is completely eliminated. Once you are installing as per the company guidelines, you will get that benefit of a silent feature.
That's great to know that all of this can be fitted, retrofitted, rather
Yes,
than
exactly.
we have to tear down the entire piping system and plumbing system and then fix it. But with the existing systems, without disturbing any of the operations, all of these technologies
Yes.
can be retrofitted without interfering with the operations in any way. That's really a very good innovation, and glad to know that you're bringing such innovations to the Healthcare 360 Summit. So, thank you very much for being a part of this.
Yes.
And as you pointed out, last question, you've been a part of this. This is now your third
Yes,
participation.
this is our third. Yes.
So thank you for coming again. Now that you've been here 3 times, what would you say is the highlight of our initiative? What's the best part of this?
Your initiative is that big that you're collecting all the doctors. Doctors are too much busy, and I'm commenting it positively. They are busy with someone's health, but still you are collecting all these people and making a platform available for. It is a joint venture. We can say we are beneficial for them as well, and they are getting benefited from us as well. So yes, this is very good platform to present.
Great. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you so
kind
much.
words,
Thank you.
and look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Rohit.
Sweeper से लेके even autoclave कैसे करते हैं, but when we studied MBBS, I don't believe that we knew how the things are done practically. But once we are into our own setup, we train, even though we start learning by ourselves, बस तो हम लोग कुछ सीखते हैं कैसे बनाते हैं. Then we train people, and फिर एक समय आती है after few years of our struggle, then we have our helping hands. ऐसे ही same nursing paramedical staff के साथ भी होता है. So initially senior nurse रहते हैं, juniors, but we can't compare ourselves to corporate setup. But still, we are giving good quality services at less cost. And जैसे Pranjal had already told, even we have categorized the rates. 1000 रुपए जनरल वार्ड फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट भी, जैसे when आयुष्मान भारत जैसे गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स में भी आर वर्किंग. आजकल तो पेशेंट पे करना ही नहीं चाहता है, एवरी पेशेंट इज कमिंग थ्रू आयुष्मान भारत स्कीम, राइट. सो हमारे पेरिफेरी में तो मेरे यहाँ पे तो हार्डली डिलीवरी पेशेंट्स थोड़ा बहुत आते हैं, बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट स्कीम में डिलीवरी इज रेस्ट्रिक्टेड टू ओनली गवर्नमेंट सेटअप्स. सो वो एक हमारे प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी वाली में हम लोग कुछ जो चाहे कर सकते हैं. बट स्टिल बीइंग इन पेरिफेरल वेयर, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स में 1400 रुपये के चक्कर में सब गवर्नमेंट ही जाना चाहता है. बट स्टिल वेन एवर द मिसहैंडल्ड केसेस कम टू अस, दैट्स हाउ वी मेक. बट उसमें भी जेन्युइनली हम लोगों को पे स्केल रखना पड़ता है, अदरवाइज पीपल विल रन ऑफ. एंड वी आर कॉम्पिटिंग इन अ क्वैक्स बहुत ज़्यादा है वहाँ पर. तो उनके साथ अगर हम 20,000 ले रहे हैं तो भी दे विल आस्क करें, वहाँ तो 18,000 में हो जाएगा. सो वी हैव टू कॉम्पीट विद द मार्केट ऑल्सो. सो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी की तो सवाल ही नहीं होती है, वो होता है, बट वी ट्राई टू सस्टेन आवरसेल्फ अमंग देम.
Your first instinct is to survive.
Yeah, and more number of patient, less profit. वो leveraging करते हैं हम लोग most of the times. Thank you.
Thanks. And my next question would be to Dr. Bhushan. Since you are running a large eye center, in the field that you're in, there is a lot of competition. So how do you ensure that you remain a viable hospital while also being in such a competitive?
Okay, so in the interest of everyone, because everyone wants to know these things, I mean, people all of sitting here and here, all people of excellence as it is, you know. So a couple of things, also digressing from that. Number one, you asked what is the support from the government? The answer is zero. The government is the biggest stumbling block in healthcare, and I've told it. I've told it to the judges, I've told it to the bureaucrats, I've told it to the ministers. After 3 chief ministers, 1 prime minister being my patients, the end result is just zero. So just to tell you, the nodal officer of the $1 trillion economy, we will not name, obviously a principal secretary level bureaucrat. So I just operated his mother, and I said, sir, I've been telling you, please assign about 100 acres of land for healthcare city. So how had doctors have done? Immediately done, and you tell me where you want. We said we want it next to the trauma center of PGI. It's a beautiful place. I measured the area, 150 acres. Okay, sir, 65,000 rupees a square meter, 2,600 crores rupees. So I said, oh, that's wonderful. So I said, let's get started. He said, yeah, but where's the payment? I said, oh, I've got 25 rupees in my pocket. I said, मेरे को एक चीज़ बताओ, healthcare develop करना आपका काम मेरा, आपका, उसके कारण जो jobs generate होती हैं आपका काम मेरा, वो आपका। देश प्रदेश का कैपिटल है उत्तर प्रदेश, यहाँ पे हेल्थकेयर का ये हाल है कि ब्रेन हेमरेज होता है, उस ज़माने में मेदांता दिल्ली में जाता हूँ, राइट? ऐसा आपको शर्म नहीं आई? That this is the state of affairs you are having here. So I said, you will give. I said, I do not wish to be a landowner. We just wish to do our job. You own the land, you own the building, and along comes a young Turk like Dr. Pranjal, and he says, "Sir, मेरे को 5,000 square foot की ज़रूरत है, तो ये लो चाबी, अपना काम शुरू करो डॉक्टर साहब."
Rental.
And then he says, नहीं अब मेरे को 5 के लिए 25,000 की ज़रूरत है, कि अच्छा इसकी चाबी लो, इसको करो. I said, can you imagine the amount of money? I said, I'm promising you, you declare it today, 1,000 crores of rupees we will get from every, कम से कम 1,000 डॉक्टर तो होंगे जो वर्थ 1 करोड़ के वर्थ के हैं और जो अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कर रहे हैं. मैंने कहा वो सारे के सारे आपको 1,000 करोड़ रुपया देंगे, 1,000 करोड़ रुपये एक हफ्ते में मिलेगा आपको. एंड जॉब्स हम जनरेट करेंगे. मैंने पूरा उसका कैलकुलेशन, आई टुक द होल कैलकुलेशन. आई टॉक टू ब्रजेश पाठक जी. आई टोल्ड हिम कि सर आप हेल्थ केयर एडवाइजरी बॉडी बनाओ, rather than trying to let the bureaucrats run. When I met योगी जी, उनके सामने मैंने कहा सर ये आपके जो लोग हैं इनसे हेल्थ केयर नहीं चलेगा, हेल्थ केयर चलना हमसे बात करो. Because we, like Dr. Sandeep said, we know it from the grassroots.
Because just to interrupt, we are looking at land in Gorakhpur. They took us to the health city in Gorakhpur. Same thing. You pay for it at commercial rate and take it. Why would someone pay for it?
So now this gentleman
and it's outside the city. So why would I want to swim and buy the same kind of land in the city?
and do it. तो कि डॉक्टर साहब वो जो आप चाहते हो कंसेशनल लैंड वो तो नहीं मिल पा रहा because the corporates are willing to pay these rates. So I said these top hospitals, इसमें 2% population of the country can go. मैंने कहा this is your vision for the future.
What about the rest of the money?
I said आप ये मुझे आप बताओ आपकी विजन क्या है हिंदुस्तान के लिए. क्या ये विजन है कि 2% लोग अस्पताल अच्छा ट्रीटमेंट अफोर्ड कर सकें? सरकारी अस्पताल में क्या हाल है हेल्थ केयर के, वो आपको भी मेरे से बेहतर मालूम है, और नहीं मालूम है then obviously you should not be on your seat. So you know, I said what the hell is happening? I said I am talking about bringing world-class health care to the people at a price at which everyone can afford. So this is the primary thing. And as doctors, all the judges, अभी सिटिंग जज के मदर का करा तो उनको मैंने कहा सर ये जो आप लोग ने इसको कंज्यूमर को प्रोटेक्शन में ले आए, मैंने कहा अभी आपके सामने मैंने इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड अटैचमेंट किया अंडर आयुष्मान. आई डोंट इवन गेट पेड फॉर द मनी आई पुट इन. व्हाट डिड आई डू इट? आई सेड आई हैव टू बी आउट ऑफ माय माइंड, क्योंकि मेरा सब्जी वाला तो मुझे वो सब्जी बेचता है जिसमें से प्रॉफिट मिलता है. सो इफ यू आर कंज्यूमर्स एंड वी आर पीपल प्रोवाइडिंग कंज्यूमर केयर, तो मैं तो वही सब करूँगा जिसमें मुझे प्रॉफिट है. And again, like you said, the technology, why will I invest in technology? I'll use the cheapest technology. So this, getting this under the purview of consumer court, मैंने कहा आप लोग देखते हो US में क्या हुआ? They brought in consumer courts. What happened? Healthcare cost went through the roof, and the quality of healthcare is pathetic, if you ask me. Absolutely pathetic. So these are something which all doctors should talk about. To wherever they can. Judge को पकड़ो, bureaucrats को पकड़ो, मंत्रियों को पकड़ो. Together we have a lot of outreach, and we can manage to convince the government rather than a few people trying to do that, and tell them कि भाई देखो इसको इस तरह से करो. So that's one thing. Now coming to the question you asked me, कि भाई उसमें how do you, to be honest, there is no competition. आपने कहा कि आई में competition है, किसी फील्ड में competition नहीं है. If you are working towards excellence, yesterday I was talking to my consultants. I said, listen, I've been told by so many people, say, ये branch बना लो, branch. I'm not interested in branches. We want TCI as the Moorfield of ophthalmology in Lucknow. I said, how is it that, where did we start our practice from? From the garage. That is where I saw VP Singh, Prime Minister. And I reversed the judgment, passed by Moorfield Eye Hospital in England. I said, they are wrong and this is correct. And I gave him evidence for it. तो सवाल ये नहीं कि आप प्रोफेसर भंडारी साहब जो थे डायरेक्टर पीजीआई, उन्होंने मेरे को बताया कि उपशम मैंने मैक्सिमम इंटरनेशनल पेपर्स तब पब्लिश किए when I was in Jipmer sitting with not just a table and a chair. So now as you add more stuff, that's good. But the vision should be of excellence. इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ जो प्रॉफिट मेकिंग लोग जो अस्पताल चलाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, दिस इज अनफॉर्चुनेट एंड दिस शुड नॉट हैपन. Medicare has to be driven by a passion, and if you're passionate about it, I was just telling my consultant yesterday, let us make an institute and you be a part, and I'll definitely take tips from Sandeep on this, on how to get them to become partners in your practice. जैसे law firms हैं US में, they often do that, right sir? And they make you a partner sooner or later, and that makes sense. I said, you are going to
Buy into your practice.
Yes sir, because see what happens is 35 साल लगता है डॉक्टर को अपने नाक पहुंचने के लिए. Then you start calling me, यार ये कोई डॉक्टर की बढ़ता है, and maximum 75 साल 80 साल में रिटायर हो जाएगा. So I am telling my boys, I am telling my consultants, you are giving me the golden years of your life, and at the same class, some of our staff may be here, and I tell them same thing. You are giving me, and I tell my wife, I said, मेरे 3 बच्चे नहीं हैं, चौथा बच्चा मेरा स्टाफ है, and one fourth of my wealth will go to them. So that is the vision you should have. That they are the ones who have given the best years of their life to you. Why should they not retire rich? Why should I retire rich? That is the vision, and that is the only thing which I aim for. Excellence. अभी हमने हिंदुस्तान का पहला HBO सिटी हमने खरीदा, सेकंड हमने खरीदा, अब थर्ड जो अल्ट्रा वाइड एंगल पूरे दुनिया में 13 मशीन है जो लखनऊ जैसे छोटे शहर में हम लेके आए हैं. So that is what keeps us ahead of everybody else. The technology, the passion. I think more than technology is the passion. I think that's something which is common to everybody who's sitting here. Is it not? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Always. If your vision has always been excellence, everything else will follow. There's nothing that can stop you if your vision is excellence. Because in that vision of excellence is everything. Everything is inclusive in that, including if the government looks at it. If they look at vision as an excellence rather than giving numbers, I think everything will change. So if you're looking at making the best center, so you got to run the best center. You got to continue to run the best center. You got to end running the best center, which is forever. So if you're looking at excellence, everything else will follow. Thank you so much, sir. I think we can stop now and then we can take questions from the audience if there are any, and we'll see how this discussion goes any further. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to ask, I'd like to take a stand.
Or maybe add something.
Yeah, or maybe add something also. Yes.
Can you
My batchmates, okay, lot of luminaries are here. मेरा ये है कि हेलो मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि हाउ टू काउंटर द कॉर्पोरेटाइजेशन ऑफ हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर. ओके, majority corporate hospitals are run by management people, and there is a challenge of solo doctor establishment who are running their centers for last 20 to 30 years. मुझे लगता है कि जो हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल्स ये लास्ट जनरेशन है जो एक सोलो एस्टैब्लिशमेंट चला रहा है, तो इसमें किस तरीके से हम लोग काउंटर कर सकते हैं? बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ कॉर्पोरेटाइजेशन, बट हेल्थ केयर सेक्टर इज नॉट ए कॉर्पोरेट, इट्स ए बिजनेस ऑफ इमोशंस. अभी क्या है, everything is online. Even Amazon is coming with consultation, and a lot of corporate labs are coming here and there. What the solo doctors will do? How to counter these challenge? Okay, I think स्टेज पे जो लोग बैठे हैं वो आंसर कर सकते हैं. ये तो बड़े कॉर्पोरेट हैं, हेल्थ केयर
बड़े कॉर्पोरेट नहीं है,
डॉक्टर ड्रिवन कॉर्पोरेट.
हमारे नहीं, आपने मन की बात उठाई है. हमने जो आप बोल रहे हैं, हम आपके साथ वालों हैं. सी, alone you can never achieve greatness. That's the truth. Number one, whenever these so-called corporates they started, they were working as professionals. चाहे वो मेदांता का एग्जाम्पल लीजिए, चाहे आप एग्जाम्पल अपोलो का लीजिए, they all were clinicians, they were all professionals. ये डॉक्टर राजगोपाल चंदन से खड़े हैं, डॉक्टर अमर सिंह, जितने भी डॉक्टर, हमने यही कहा जनता में, डॉक्टर अनिल खन्ना, जितने भी हैं सब डॉक्टर पे रहे हैं. लेकिन जब कोई भी प्रॉब्लम इस लेवल पे पहुंचेगी जिसमें आप अकेले एज एन इंडिविजुअल नहीं फाइट कर सकते, तो उसमें डॉक्टर एज अ ग्रुप एंड कम्युनिटी ऑल्सो. जैसे अगर ये कहा जाता है ना कि हमने 2010 में एक आर्थराइटिस फाउंडेशन बनाया था, और फाउंडेशन बनाने का रीजन ये था कि आर्थराइटिस तो एपिडेमिक की तरह है, अकेले आप नहीं कर सकते, तो आपको ग्रुप बनाना पड़ेगा. ग्रुप अल्टीमेटली गेटिंग कन्वर्टेड इनटू अ कॉर्पोरेट, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी. लेकिन आज की तारीख में अगर दो कंसेप्ट रहेंगे, सिंगल ओनरशिप सर्वाइव करेगा, दैट विल बी लाइक अ फैमिली फिजिशियन, क्लिनिक्स, वो सब नेबरहुड क्लिनिक्स वो सब चलेगी, वेस्ट तक में भी चलती हैं, सब जगहों का पार्ट है, वो यूएस कहिए चाहे यूके कहिए. बट अल्टीमेटली चूंकि जो भी डॉक्टर गायत्री ने बोला, डॉक्टर गायत्री ने, कि पेशेंट पैसा नहीं देना चाहता है. सारे सेक्टर्स या तो स्कीम्स के थ्रू ड्रिवन है या इंश्योरेंस के थ्रू ड्रिवन है. तो अल्टीमेटली सर्वाइवल जो होगा, जैसे हम भी हॉस्पिटल इस समय रन कर रहे हैं, तो हमारे पास काफ़ी ज़्यादा हमारा पैसा बाकी रहता है एंड रिकवरी बहुत काफ़ी रहती है. तो आप कैसे सर्वाइव करोगे? तो आपको फाइनेंस का भी बैकग्राउंड. तो आंसर टू दिस जो आप कह रहे हैं कि कॉर्पोरेटाइजेशन का आंसर वुड बी ग्रुप बिजनेस. ये यूएस में भी है, बाकी सब जगहों पे जहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं है. यूएस बहुत अच्छा सिस्टम नहीं है, उसका हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम इज नॉट वेरी गुड, डिलीवरी भी नहीं अच्छी है, यूके इसलिए नहीं अच्छी है, एनएचएस नहीं काम करता. तो सारे सिस्टम्स फर्क हैं. हमारे सिस्टम में दिक्कत ये है कि लोग काफ़ी हैं, हमारा सिस्टम बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग है. हम बाहर के लोग आकर के उनको हम इलाज दे सकते हैं. हमें वो सब चीज़ों को समझना पड़ेगा. और जितने भी ये बेड्स हैं, ये सारे बेड्स पूरे नहीं पड़ेंगे. हम उनसे कॉम्पीट क्यों नहीं कर सकते कि हमें अपने की कॉस्ट कम करनी पड़ेगी. जो सिंगल लोग हैं, अब वो आपकी बात सही है, आपकी हम लोग डिस्कशंस में भी इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं ग्रुप्स में, कि अब ये 999 के पैकेज आ जाते हैं, लैब्स में आ जाते हैं, उससे आप कैसे कॉम्पीट करोगे? इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. बट देन उनकी आउटरीच भी उन्हीं को है जो कि वो पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं. तो हमें अपनी आउटरीच चेंज करनी पड़ेगी, हमें स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज करनी पड़ेगी, और सब सर्वाइव करेंगे. दिस इज माई प्ले. और हमने जो किया वो ये किया कि प्रॉब्ली इफ वी आर डूइंग हाई एंड सर्जरीज, लाइक अगर हम नी रिप्लेसमेंट, हिप रिप्लेसमेंट कर रहे हैं, तो हम प्रॉब्ली वो डिकॉर वो सब नहीं दे सकते. दैट इज वन. वो सर्विसेज नहीं दे सकते जो इनके पास है. तो कई रिसोर्सफुल लोग एक साथ जुड़ जाएं और वो सर्विसेज लोगों को प्रोवाइड करते हैं. इट्स लाइक इफ आई कैन नॉट, हमारे पास मान लीजिए क्रिकेट खेलने का शौक है, हमारे पास खेलने का मैदान नहीं है, 11 प्लेयर्स ने मिल करके एक मैदान खरीद दिया आपके लिए, किसको आना नहीं आएगा. हमें अपने से कॉम्पीट करना है. वी हैव टू डू बेटर देन व्हाट वी वर. वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू कॉम्पीट विद देम. जैसे ही हम कॉम्पीट करते हैं सारी चीज, यही झगड़ा एप्पल और माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का था. एप्पल वाज इम्प्रूविंग, उसका पिछला प्रोडक्ट, अगला प्रोडक्ट पिछले से बेटर होता था. माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एप्पल को देखता था. सो प्रॉब्ली वी शुड नॉट बी लुकिंग एट देम, वी शुड नॉट बी कॉम्पीटिंग विद देम, वी शुड फाइट इट आउट टू सर्वाइव. दिस इज माई फीलिंग. डॉक्टर ओशन ऐड करें.
So I think that is something very important, and so there are two things about it. नंबर एक तो मेरे को ये लगता है कि डॉक्टर्स को फाइनेंशियल विजडम नहीं सिखाया जाता. इट्स नॉट पार्ट ऑफ अ करिकुलम. हमें से पढ़ाया जाता है, मेडिकल के बारे में बताया जाता है. फाइनेंशियल विजडम इज अ थिंग विच शुड बी पार्ट ऑफ अ करिकुलम. बिकॉज आई हैव मेट सो मेनी डॉक्टर्स कि सर हम अपनी प्रैक्टिस करना चाहते हैं। मैंने कहा अपना और पराये में फ़र्क कहाँ है? बिकॉज द एरा ऑफ सिंगल पर्सन प्रैक्टिस इज ओवर. It will not survive anymore. Like Dr. Sandeep said, it will exist as individual clinics. But if you are looking at an income, let's say beyond 1 CR, तो 1 करोड़ से ज़्यादा की इनकम अगर आप सोच रहे हो कि साल में मिल जाए, तो आप भूल जाओ. आप कंप्यूटर 10 रुपए का या 1 लाख रुपए का कंप्यूटर बैठ के आप 10 करोड़ का बिजनेस कर सकते हो. बट आप 10 करोड़ का अस्पताल सिंगल चला करके आप वो नहीं कमा सकते. यू हैव टू हैव अ टीम. And that is why, again, I will go back to what Sandeep said, like-minded people. If you have not read, please read a book by Napoleon Hill called, जिसमें mastermind की वो बात करता है, The Law of Success. Please read about it. He talks about मैंने अपनी पढ़ी थी, वो जब मैं क्लास 8 में था तब पढ़ा था, मैं बता रहा हूँ उसमें. The Law of Success says there is a mastermind, and a mastermind is a collective thought of a group of people. And if one person out of their mastermind starts thinking differently, the mastermind breaks. So, आपकी vision क्या है? ये मेरी vision है. That the top CEOs will decide. Like him, Dr. Amar Singh sir, जब बना रहे थे चंदन हॉस्पिटल, मेरे को बुलाया, पूरा घुमाया, कहते उपशम क्या क्या सामान लेना है, लिस्ट तू बनाएगा और मैं खरीदूंगा. Knowing that tomorrow I will be competing with Chandan, but that's not a competition. He's a friend. He's asking me good questions. I will answer properly. And आज तक जितनी चीज़ें खरीदवाई सब ठीक ही चल रहे हैं. So कहने का अर्थ ये है कि मास्टरमाइंड आप क्रिएट करो, लाइक माइंडेड लोगों को साथ में लो और बताओ कि देखो ये विजन है और समय समय पे हमें बैठना है. क्यों सर? Am I right or wrong? सर को यार जरा सा माइक दे दे please somebody, because I would what his. Because these people are legends of Lucknow who have created great things. So please, your inputs also on this.
नहीं डॉक्टर आपने सही कहा. मैं 1985 से मैं स्टार्टेड प्रैक्टिसिंग. तो हम लोग शुरुआत में जो 4 लोग 5 लोग जुड़े थे, जो आपने वर्ड यूज़ किया लाइक माइंडेड, एम एक ही था. क्योंकि लखनऊ में 85 में अगर आप हॉस्पिटल्स के नाम पे गिनते तो कोई भी हॉस्पिटल नहीं था विवेकानंद उनको छोड़ के. प्राइवेट सेक्टर में खाली नीला नर्सिंग होम हुआ करता था, एक अनुज नर्सिंग होम होता था, बाकी 5-5, 10-10 बेड के मैटरनिटी होम्स थे. उस एरा में हमने स्टार्ट किया था. और यू विल नॉट बिलीव, हमको ये नहीं लग रहा था कि हम लखनऊ जैसी जगह पे सस्टेन कर पाएंगे, क्योंकि इट वॉज अ वाइट कॉलर एट दैट टाइम आई एम टॉकिंग ऑफ. उस समय हम लोगों ने एक HIG फ्लैट किराए पे लिया था. HIG फ्लैट में 5 कमरे थे. ड्राइंग रूम जो था ड्राइंग डाइनिंग वाला, उसको हमने जनरल वार्ड बनाया था. एक बेडरूम को हमने OT बनाया था. एक बेडरूम को हमने जो प्राइवेट रूम बनाया था. और बीच में एक आंगन था HIG फ्लैट में. उसकी छत पे खुला छत था, तो उसको उन लोगों ने प्लास्टिक से कवर किया था. और जो उसका गैराज था उसको OPD बनाया था. यहाँ से स्टार्ट किया था हम लोगों ने. और जो एरिया था जिसको छत पे हमने पन्नी से ढका था, दैट वाज आवर सर्जन्स रूम. एंड हम 4 लोगों ने जो लाइक माइंडेड वर्ड आप यूज़ कर रहे हैं, मैं, डॉक्टर अग्रवाल, लेट डॉक्टर गटानी एंड भवनानी एंड डॉक्टर गीता, वी 5 पीपल स्टार्टेड. हम लोग ये सोच रहे थे, सबकी अपनी क्लिनिक थी कि वो पेशेंट तो वहाँ से आएंगे और काम यहाँ करेंगे. हम आज की डेट में पलट के सोचते हैं हमने क्या सोचा था, उसमें हम क्या करेंगे. उसके अंदर हमने ISS ऑपरेट किए, DGCA ऑपरेट किए, टॉप पीपल ऑपरेट किए और वो कराते थे आपके ऑपरेशन. द पर विजन वॉज ओनली वन कि हमको आगे बढ़ना है. वी वर डूइंग एज ए पायलट प्रोजेक्ट. क्योंकि देखिए उस समय ना इंटरनेट था, ना गूगल था, ना कुछ था, कोई आदमी बताने वाला नहीं था. आदमी आता था MBBS करके MS करके निकला, बाहर आ गया काम करने के लिए. उस पीरियड का जो हम लोगों ने ये एक्सपीरियंस था 1-1.5 साल का, उसने हमको ये एहसास दिलाया कि नहीं आगे बढ़ सकते. And that was only the like-mindedness of all. And then we started the Awadh Hospital. वहाँ पे फिर हम लोगों ने जगह एक उन्हीं की थी, वन ऑफ द पार्टनर की, तो हम लोगों ने बनाया. तो जो पर्पस है वो यही है कि अगर एम एक है तो उसको हम ग्रो कर सकते हैं. और फिर लाइक माइंडेड में फिर एक दूसरे के बारे में सोचना है. तुम्हारी मशीन आनी है, मेरी मशीन आनी है, मेरे को अपनी स्पेशलिटी डेवलप करनी है, दूसरी स्पेशलिटी डेवलप करनी है. And next thing I will tell you, when I started the laparoscopic surgery in 1994, I would say 97, 98, हार्मोनिक स्कैल्पल पूरे यूपी में किसी ने नहीं लिया था। यू नो, आज की जनरेशन जानती है हार्मोनिक इज अ वेरी वेरी बेसिक थिंग लाइक स्टेथोस्कोप। हार्मोनिक वाज द फर्स्ट थिंग व्हिच आई परचेज इन 15 lakhs एट दैट टाइम एंड एवरीबॉडी सेड यार लो क्या करोगे, पेशेंट को गॉल ब्लैडर निकालना, उसको तो खाली कॉर्टरी चाहिए, कॉर्टरी से निकाल देना है, तुम्हें क्या करना है हार्मोनिक का। फिर वही बात, उस समय मैंने प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी वाली बात ही नहीं थी दिमाग में। आई वॉन्टेड टू एक्सेल इन दैट फील्ड and when I found कि it is a very good instrument for the difficult dissections and all the things। तो इस कंसेप्ट से चलना है और वही कंसेप्ट आज से चलता चला आ रहा है कि हमें अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी को अपडेटेड रखना है, प्रॉफिट को नहीं सोचना है। अगर हम उसमें अपनी एक्सीलेंट केयर दे देंगे, और जो लास्ट चीज़ मैं कहना चाहूँगा जो मिस हो रही है उस टाइम में और अब टाइम में डिफरेंस है, वो है एम्पैथी। जो हम पेशेंट की पल्स जब पकड़ते थे, हाथ से छूते थे ना, उसका जो इफेक्ट था वो अब धीरे धीरे जितना डिजिटाइजेशन होता चला जा रहा है, वी आर गोइंग अवे। और जिसने ये देख लिया, जिसने टाइम दे दिया पेशेंट को, चाहे वो कॉर्पोरेट में हो चाहे नॉन कॉर्पोरेट में हो, अगर नॉन कॉर्पोरेट में तो सक्सेस तो उसको मिलनी ही मिलनी। थैंक यू
सर, थैंक यू। बड़ी अच्छा होता है जो नहीं करता, तो इट इज स्टिल देयर सर। एम्पैथी अगर नहीं है तो डॉक्टर नहीं करता।
सर इसमें एक पॉइंट और बोलना चाहूँगा, जैसे सर ने बोला कि सिंगल प्रैक्टिशनर वर्सेस कॉर्पोरेट। सो ये जो वर्सेस वर्ड है, ये वर्सेस वर्ड बहुत मतलब ये एक कहना चाहिए, दिस इज द पॉइजन इन आवर सोसाइटी। मैं ये मानता हूँ डॉक्टर ही डॉक्टर का दुश्मन होता है। जैसे अगर कोई कॉर्पोरेट में पेशेंट आता है तो एक कॉर्पोरेट की शायद मतलब अधिकतर लोगों की टेंडेंसी यानी बाहर से करवा के आया है, बाहर जाता है तो कहते हैं तो कॉर्पोरेट से लुटवा के आया है। सो ये जो टेंडेंसी, और इसका फ़ायदा पेशेंट ही उठाता है अल्टीमेटली, कि वो यहाँ की वहाँ और वहाँ की वहाँ करता है। तो हमें ऐसे ना समझे कि भाई एंटी कॉर्पोरेट या एंटी प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिशनर, इट इज़ अबाउट सर ने बोला एक्सेलेंस एंड एम्पैथी, दैट्स ऑल। एंड वी स्टॉप टॉकिंग अबाउट स्मॉल टॉक्स अबाउट आवर कलीग्स, एंड दैट इज वन वे ऑफ लुकिंग एट इट, दैट्स व्हाट आई बिलीव।
I'm sorry, if anybody else wants to add, I think, Doctor, will we have permission? Other people? Yeah, because Sudhanshu, you've been virtually CEO of the Bora Institute, so would you like to share some of your experiences? And Dr. PK, I would also like to ask you, because you have been running a single practice pathology, what are the kind of challenges? And another thing which I feel is, if we run a single practice, then what I've seen with my professors, my teachers, कि एक लिमिट पे पहुंच के then once they start practicing less, then the whole practice dies. So the tree which they planted dies with them. Whereas if you run an institute, then you become a shareholder of the institute. Or like tomorrow, if Sandeep retires, doesn't matter, he would have prepared a team under him, and he continues to earn out of the tree that is planted today. So I would want the views of the house. PK because being individual, and Sudhanshu because you are running the Bora Institute. Yeah.
But usually solo establishment भी जो है धीरे समझ रहे हैं इस चीज़ों को। जैसे for example, I started my practice 1992 near CPJ. Okay, I've got a lot of name and fame as well as quality. At the same time, I realized this is the last generation who is running their own setup. Okay, gradually the era of group practice. You rightly said, either आपके बच्चे आ जाए, second generation आ जाए, जैसे डॉक्टर प्रांजल है, I think इनके घर में 4 डॉक्टर्स हैं, that is sort of group practice. तो ये अगर ये रहेगा तब तो सर्वाइव कर पाएंगे। जैसे मेरे यहाँ खुद भी there are 3 pathologists, my son is pathologist, my daughter Enga is pathologist। तो एक बेटा मेरा कॉर्पोरेट लॉयर है, उसने कहा कि नहीं, आप सोलो इस्टेब्लिशमेंट प्रोप्राइटरशिप फॉर नाउ अचानक अभी कुछ हुआ कि बिल्कुल खत्म हो जाएगा। तो दैट ही हैज एडवाइस कि नाउ इट इज अ टाइम टू एक्सपेंड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ बिजनेस ऑल्सो। दैट इज गिवन द कंसेप्ट ऑफ LLP। ये उन लोगों के लिए है जो सोलो इस्टेब्लिशमेंट रन कर रहे हैं। LLP लिमिटेड लायबिलिटी पार्टनरशिप। अब धीरे हम लोग रियलाइज करेंगे यस एक चीज़ ये भी है, लेकिन हाँ इसे खर्चे पड़ रहे हैं, चार्टर्ड अकाउंट में खर्चे बढ़ेंगे, LLP क्रिएट करने में खर्चे बढ़ेंगे। लेकिन हाँ डेफिनेटली सेकेंड जनरेशन है आपके पास, ग्रुप है आपके पास, तब तो आप सर्वाइव करेंगे। लेकिन दिस इज द लास्ट एरा ऑफ सोलो एस्टैब्लिशमेंट प्रैक्टिशनर जो कि एक चैलेंज है, लेकिन ग्रेजुअली इसमें रास्ता निकले आई थिंक.
There is no way to expand other than get people in. So that is corporatization. और कुछ नहीं.
सर जो हम लोग
It's not a bad word.
डॉक्टर राजगोपाल जो हम लोग कॉर्पोरेट वर्ड यूज कर रहे हैं, that's not like what Chandan is. Chandan has been like Dr. Sandeep said, the core and heart is all doctors. So the vision will always remain different from somebody जो कि अभी तक होटल चला रहा था.
I think Dr. Sandeep said one thing, which Dr. Amar Singh also always says, every day he says, that the culture comes from the top. Or you said it. You said it, somebody said
Oh,
it.
what was mine? Yeah.
The culture comes from the top.
Yes.
The success comes from below.
Correct.
So it's your workers who will create your success. But unless you give that culture from the top, you will not be able to succeed. Which is what most corporates are.
Dr. Rakesh Kapoor sir is also here. So most welcome. Sir, we wanted inputs from various perspectives of Dr. Rajgopal, please, the question.
So we were actually discussing navigating profitability and also social responsibility. So there was some discussion about corporatization and everything, and we were just trying to say that finally it is group practices that will work rather than single practices. So if you would like to add anything on that.
Corporate sector. So both balance, we need a lot of balance. Because what happens is if you go in a government sector, then you get subsidy from the government and all that. And it is easy to manage. But still if you see PGI, RML and other hospitals, they are not totally free hospitals. It's a paid hospital. Even when I was director, we started Ayushman. It was not possible to do the treatment under the Ayushman itself. So the Chief Minister at that time gave extra funds because we have an HRF system there, in which whatever was the negative balance which we have to pay to the HRF, which is an independent body which provides the drugs and all the material for the surgeries and all that. Now once you come in corporate, then people start talking about profitability and the patient's paying capacity and all those things. So with TPA it is fine. But once we calculated, say for CABG in Medanta itself and in the government sector. So the cost in the government sector, if you see, it is not less. It comes around 3.5 to 4 lakhs and the patient is running around 10 times. And in India, we don't calculate the time lost in that. Once he is even admitted, he is there for 8-10 days before his number comes. So it's a very important question. And ultimately what government has to see, we have to develop a system in which we have to shake hands with the government. And like most of the corporate, if we talk about 100% occupancy is never there. Even if we get 60-70%, we are very happy. And if the government comes with a tertiary care hospital or a quaternary, which we started talking about, then the government has to spend a huge amount of money and the availability of the doctors for that particular specialized treatment. So definitely it's the need of the time to discuss these things at government level, at the corporate level, and we have to find out some way. Otherwise it is very difficult to answer that how we will manage. Because yes, ethical practice should be there, quality should be there, and that should not be compromised because of the cost factors and all that. So public has to understand, government has to understand, and of course the corporate has to understand too.
Thank you very much. One question, but if there are no questions, then I'd like to ask the panel a question from and this is coming from a complete outsider who's got no direct connection to the healthcare business, only person who's on top of online forums, etc., books, etc. So there's this reputation. The reputation of the hospital business is sometimes in tatters. You know, patient walks into a hospital, doctors diagnose, overdiagnose, all with the intention to generate more profit. And sometimes even there are something that's even more egregious are diagnosis targets or testing targets without any concern for the patient's health. What about the patient's health? Why is there a target a priority? And why is it that the patient, if the doctor knows that there's an insurance involved, then the test goes into overdrive, the diagnosis goes into overdrive. So these are all the discussions that happen in online forums like Reddit and books, etc. So my question is any of this true? And if it is true, then why is it happening, or is it all just a load of hogwash?
It is a catch-22 situation. You diagnose properly, you need investigations, And then for investigations, because it's not a no profit no loss model, you have to spend money. And if you underdiagnose, then you lose some. You go somewhere else, and then they diagnose, and then you are in a soup. So my personal belief is that the diagnostic targets, treatment targets, this is all in coarse terms bullshit. So ultimately, it boils down to yourself. So you cannot say that my hospital is giving me these targets. No, they are giving you this salary. And if you want to just in an effort to justify that salary, you are trying to do something. Now that is a wrong thing to do. You do your job, what is scientific, whatever basis, and whatever salary is worth, you will get it, right? Most of the time, this is what happens actually. So you are writing investigation for the sake of diagnosis, not for because you are getting that extra money. Now few people, एक मछली सारे तालाब को गंदा करती है, ऐसे वाला होता है. So a few people might be doing it, but that is actually giving bad name to everyone. Now patients are also smart. Now so many, I get 17 years old with ChatGPT diagnosis with them, and I mean you cannot imagine what shit we are getting these days. So it's a complex thing. Like Reddit, who is discussing with whom? Yes. So yeah.
So one thing I will definitely add. So there is a generation gap as well. Like we were discussing that he's talking about ChatGPT and AI and all that stuff coming up. So the next gen which is coming up, it is more digitalized and into a number of things. And the present era, like when we were trained, I learned the word SOP. There are standard operating procedures. So there is a SOP for an ICU. You get to know that when the patient lands up in the emergency, there is an SOP for the patient being received in the emergency. Then the patient landing to ICU, there is another SOP. Patient going to the theatre, there is another SOP. And if you do not follow these SOPs, they are SOPs. These SOPs are guidelines of various systems, and this definitely involves a cost. And doctor will definitely like what happened in US. It was all malpractices which came up, and that was the reason for the costs going so high. And if you do not follow these systems, like what Mayank said, he is absolutely correct. If you do not, it's a double-edged thing. So there's you have to follow. And that is the reason. I mean, the target is a doctor like Dr. Anil Khanna. He talked about empathy, and we are of that era now. It's been Rakesh sir is senior. He's quite senior. हम लोग के गुरु के लेवल में होंगे. हम लोग को जो टीच किया गया है वो हम लोगों को पास करना है. So it's going to be our second curve. Our first curve of earning money and that stuff is over. और हम लोग खुद भी बैठे हुए हैं जिन जगहों पे हम लोगों को इसको कंट्रोल करना. तो targets and all that stuff, I don't agree with this, and I agree with what Mayank says.
And the other thing is, if you look at practices now, a lot of doctors use publications, published reports कि इन patients में ये use किया गया था, ये test किए गए थे, इसीलिए हम आपको देते. A lot of them use them. But what happens is to talk. Like what happens is, suppose a doctor writes, say 10 tests. All the 10 tests are normal. So then you come back and say he's overwritten a test. He's overwritten the 10 tests because सारे normals को हैं. But he's trying to catch a problem for you. And no doctor wants to lose a patient. I'm telling you, that is one thing that a doctor survives on his practice, right? That's his bread and butter. That's where he goes home and pays for his meal. So why would you want to lose a patient? So the patient also has to think in those terms that the doctor is not working just to earn money. He's working to put food on the table for his family too. So writing a test is not wrong, but yeah, like how Dr. Mayank said, one black sheep can change.
Yeah, I think I'd also like to add that a very important thing is that the patient has to be counseled properly. And when a patient questions ki sahi kyun hai, I say you go on the net and see what is the preferred practice pattern and what are the protocols of this treatment. वो जैसे कहते हैं उस डॉक्टर ने तो कहा कि ये नहीं करना है, आप क्या करें, मैंने कहा नहीं वो भी सही है, मैं भी सही हूँ. तो नेट पे देखो इंटरनेशनल प्रोटोकॉल क्या है और मैं लिख के दे रहा हूँ. उसने तो तुम्हें वर्बली बोला ना, मैं लिख के दे रहा हूँ. एंड व्हेन इफ इट इज राइट यू गेट इट डन, एंड दिस इज व्हाट इज गोइंग टू कम आउट ऑफ योर टेस्ट. एंड when I think, for example, जैसे OCT करना है, now it has become almost a protocol to do it before surgery because there might be fine changes you might miss. So I tell them that it is for the 99% to be normal. I tell them that also, but it is part of the protocol that it has to be done. Not a legal protocol, but कल को आप मेरे से पूछोगे जब outcome अच्छा नहीं आएगा, so if it's counseled properly, I think 90% of patients are. Yeah.
I can give a small example, which we did in our hospital. There were a lot of patients who were complaining about the time of the discharge, that it takes too much time. So what we did was, what does a patient expect? Like a hotel, you're checking out, right? So you just get up and leave. It doesn't work like that in a hospital. So once we started explaining the process, there are like 14 steps before you can actually leave the hospital. And all these steps have to be followed, otherwise your discharge, somebody will have a problem and you will have a problem tomorrow. And it might take 2 hours. Now we don't get any complaints because every patient is told wait for 2 hours, wait for 3 hours, or if you're a TPA patient, it might take till evening because those guys have to tell us whether you're cleared or not. So our complaints are almost nil on that front. Because now they understand that, okay, I have to wait because these things have to be followed. So they come and ask, कौन से step में अभी अटका हुआ है? So, they have become part of our process of discharge. So,
like you were telling about over-diagnosing the things.
Not me. Very well.
This is a question. Like this is a question which has.
Those guys are there. But those chats are very popular. There's a lot of traction there.
So इसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने भी कुछ आयुष्मान भारत
schemes के
through जो हो रहा है, उसमें there are some protocols which they have to follow.
Like ये टेस्ट होना important है, ये reports
Diagnosis होना important है. This also helps this thing create over-diagnosis or over-teaching out. So this is also helping the people who are not aware कि क्या होना चाहिए, क्या है, knowledgeable नहीं.
So there are no malified intentions.
Hello.
Well, thank you very much to all of our panelists, and thank you very much for being with us this morning and sharing with us your knowledge, experience, and insights. Can we please have a round of appreciation for our panelists? Thank you, Doctor. In order for a hospital enterprise or any enterprise to be profitable, it's important to ensure that the building of this technology and the latest and best equipment that is available. That is the reason why we have entry. And one such supplier, our partner that we have today, this morning, is Astral Pipes, who has been with us for several of our initiatives and has been our patron for a while. And today, Mr. Roy Joshi, who is the influencer of development at Astral Pipes, is going to Pipes has worked on that is specifically meant for hospital businesses around the country. So please help me welcome on stage Mr.
अर्जुन है क्या सर?
नहीं
I will start with the line it is too much pleasure for me to present in front of all the doctors and engineers. मैं एक इंजीनियर हूँ application the water which is used, this is the only material which is recommended in that category. So PEX A Pro is the product, and PEX means cross-link polyethylene. It is a type A material, cross-link polyethylene. So this was the third product. The equipment and for any patient rooms, or we can say in the parkings. So when we need to take out the surface water properly, so these are the ready-made plastic gutter systems which will be installed very easily, and we can give a proper slope to it. So in this category, we have from 4 inch to 12 inch ready-made gutter systems. It is made up of polypropylene, so it is non-corrosive in nature, and again it is very much easier for installation. Different load classes are also there. So as per our requirement, if it is in parking, the different class will be there. If it is in a walking room or walking area, it will be a different load class. So we are having this up to 12 inches, or we can say 300 mm, and different varieties are there. These are the hospitals where we have installed this. These are almost a national list of hospitals. This is our new product, but in very short time we have installed this product in these hospitals. This was about the pipings and what I told you. Secondly, we are into the construction chemicals, then maintenance and wood adhesive, which is required for any infrastructure segment. Bathware means different type of bathroom wares, or we can say faucets and sanitary wares are also important part of any hospital. So before 3 years we started this, and we have achieved a proven progress in this category. So Astral is now into bathware as well. We have different categories from Gloria, Premia, Imperia and Celestia. Means you can say from smallest one to the largest one, or we can say most premium. So all these categories we are having into the range. Then we are into paints as well. From last approx 1 year we have taken over some of the manufacturing units, and now we are our own production of solvent cements as well as paints. So this is the complete portfolio of Astral. I will again repeat that pipes are very much important in case of what we can say any health of the healthcare building. So we have a stall as well. We have some samples with us. So I will request. Then we are very much happy to help you on that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rohit. And of course, I will also remind the audience, our august audience, that Astral.
If you have any questions, then
If I have any questions, I think we're good. But I think one point that is that really struck me was the piping solutions are can be deployed for new hospitals as well as retrofitted in the existing hospitals. So we don't have to demolish or remove the entire systems, break the walls, break the tiles, refit the entire pipeline, and then start again, which is a big job. I think what's very unique about your product is the product can be seamlessly retrofitted into the existing infrastructure, and it's almost like plug and play.
Yes.
So that was a highlight that we also discussed earlier, and I think that is a USP that will appeal to a lot of the hospital owners, developers, doctors even that we have in our audience today. So that was one takeaway from me. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce our next partner presentation. Mr. Prashant Agarwal was the Vice President from Red Health. Red Health is a very unique and interesting concept because hospital business can be an emergency, and sometimes this is a glaring gap sometimes, and how do we bridge this gap? So to shed some light on this, I'd like to introduce Mr. Prashant Agarwal from Red Health to introduce Red Health to all of us today, and also explain what Red Health has to offer to the hospital businesses here today, this morning. Mr. Prashant? Hi. Yeah? Us today, so please help me welcome on stage Mr. Karthik Bharadwaj from Red Health.
Very good morning to one and all the doctors, all the dignitaries. So Red Health is basically a patient logistics organization, and we have been operating since last 9 years, since 2016. Currently we are partnered with more than 104 hospitals pan-India, wherein we are providing the logistics for their patients. Basically, Red Health is on the speed dial of industry giants and the best-in-class hospitals currently serving a lot of corporates like Microsoft, Apple, wherein we are providing OHC services to them as well. And we are Asia's first JCI accredited medical transport organization and world's fifth. And I am sure the doctors who are currently present here that JCI accreditation is something which gives us a leverage that we are great in our quality standards, and we are providing the best quality standards to the patients that we are serving currently. So we have the most extensive ambulance network across all the modalities, be it ACLS vehicles, be it BLS vehicles, or be it train ambulances or air ambulances. We have currently more than 4 rail ambulance services as well to all the hospitals and to the patients. We have currently we have extensive air ambulance network and providing the best care with the best teams to the patients and even solution to the hospitals. Basically, we are asking the hospitals not to, increase their capex in investing in buying ambulances. Eventually, we want them to be more focused towards, let us be your, extended partners in providing the same kind of services to the patients while coming to the hospital. We have 4 kinds of ambulances, mine labor band with, highly trained paramedics. We have our JCM accreditation adds trust and increase patient safety and the patients. We have auto dispatch system where we are dispatching ambulances, paramedics, and by being an efficient, basically providing them logistics and reaching out to the patient on the right time. We are basically also helping hospitals build ER brands. So basically, currently ER is now also being considered as a revenue generating, department wherein wherein there's a huge potential to, get the IP patients through that ER department as well. So we are helping hospitals to build a ER brand so that people in emergency remember their brand and have their numbers saved in the mobiles and can be catered on the stipulated time that is being promised. Technologically advanced, we have 5G network, we have 5G ambulances. These 5G ambulances basically help in prepping the ER before the patient is also reaching the hospital. Before the patient is reaching the hospital, the ER can be prepped for that kind of a patient. What is the all requirement that is required for treating the patient. So during emergencies, hospitals are the patient's first hope, all right, and we are providing that guarantee through the hospitals that we will be there in their first hope journey to make them reach the hospitals on time and provide them the first level of care in the golden hour on time. So when every second counts, we are there for the hospital and even for their patients. And a hospital is the first choice for 90% of the people who are in emergencies and patients who are in crisis. Yet 70% of the emergency calls in a hospital go unanswered because of the unavailability of the robust system, wherein people are not able to give the adequate time to give the answers or answer the calls of the emergencies. Most of the time what happens is, when someone is calling on the number that is a dedicated number for them, that number goes to the IVR. So that, getting into the IVR system leads to a lot of time in, delaying that, patient journey or reaching to the patient or even getting to know what the patient wants. All right, industry challenges. Fewer vehicles catering to a huge demand. As everyone knows, the kind of services, ambulance services, it's such a, I would say, unorganized market that is there. Even the government is trying to, do it through 108 or 102 or 104, but eventually they are not able to reach to such a level wherein, quality service can be provided to the patients, but there is no solution to it as of now. Plus, there is less availability of these good quality ambulances in the cities that we are currently present. If we talk about Lucknow also, there are hardly any quality ambulances out there on the roads or anywhere somewhere around. The second point would be absence of controlling body. There is no controlling over the regulations or the regulatories that needs to be, or the standards that needs to be followed through these ambulance providers. High dependency on third-party vehicles. local vendors diverting ambulances and patients to different hospitals, which is a potential revenue loss to the hospitals, because just for a mere amount of money they are just diverting the cases that are coming towards the hospital, which could have been a potential revenue for the hospital as well. With us, we provide a guarantee of zero diversions, and making sure that if the patient wants to come to a particular hospital, is being taken to that particular hospital. 20% of lives that can be saved during the transit aren't saved because of lack of the right adequate quality of equipments, or adequate quality of the paramedic staff, or their training, or the clinical staff, or there's a breakage in the vehicle, whatsoever. About 90% of the road ambulance lack essential medical equipments. 95% of the ambulances are operated by untrained persons. Either their drivers are not trained to utilize that commercial vehicle, or they are not in the adequate position to handle the patient stretchers as well. Paramedic staffs, they are not trained, they are not qualified. Emergency services take 30 minutes in urban areas. 30 minutes is a huge time to save a life. With the help of efficient and fast networks, ambulances, increasing the standards of those ambulances, increasing the paramedics, the quality of the paramedics, and technology, marketing, and more, this can be changed. It can be changed. Like if you talk about the ROPA system of 911, which is in US, it is one of the best systems that is being followed throughout the world, because they have hugely invested in their paramedic staff, plus the vehicles that are being operated over there. Alright, so to provide the quality services with us, it just takes one call, one efficient emergency response system, and one network. When we are under one umbrella, to have all of it, I think it can be done, and it is being done through us. So, handling more than 104 emergencies, pre-emergency care for the hospitals is something, it's a humongous operations, doing 15,000 trips in a month, and delivering the right care to the patient, and providing hospitals the confidence that the patient is safe with us. So it's a huge thing that is being done under this umbrella. So we don't believe that if a patient wants to come to a particular hospital which is 10 kilometers away from the position or from the area where he lives, to travel 10 kilometers, he has to take the call, and he has to he's being provided with the location of where the patient is. Then there is a paramedic who follows the task list prepared by the AI enables all the tasks that all the vitals can be transmitted to the ER directly with nearly any kind of lag. Like it is as good as a question that needs to be asked while doing triaging or anything.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
Have like tie-ups with some of the particular trains and access throughout India, or is it just fewer metro cities that you right now working with?
No. So basically, it is being done through a network from the IRCTC itself. Any train can be operated or can be converted into a train IRCTC BP. So any train can be converted into train ambulances, be it any area, any region, any pin code, anywhere. Through my ambulance, from that bed, it will be taken to the train station through my clinical team.
One interesting point, this issue of diversion which you brought out, that's an interesting one. Hospitals outsourcing the ambulance services to ambulance services, and then those ambulances are then outsourced diverting. That's an interesting one. How come the hospitals are not aware of this, or are they aware of this but nothing can be done of it? And also, what is the number? There was no number there. Out of 10 ambulance rides, how many of them are diverted to other hospitals, and how many of them are because of backside deals, etc.? Can maybe shed some light on that, because that actually is a bit of an eye-opener.
Honestly, if you ask me about the numbers, no one has that number. No one has a clue how many patients wanted to come to them and they're not reaching to them. Alright? But there is a number, that is, when we come into the picture, when we are there serving the hospitals, there is a natural increase in the growth of ER footfall from 30 to 35% in the first 6 months itself. So that means without even investing in their marketing or even in in any other events or anything, I am just doing a simple thing. The patient wanted to come to the particular hospital, I am getting that patient. That is giving the 30% increase to their revenue or their footfall.
So are the hospitals aware of this theft,
Yes,
what we call that?
Yes, Dr. Rakesh is, he's smiling and laughing on this because we have shown that to him. Sir, I'm sure we have shown the results to you as well. Like in the last year, we have increased the inbounds in ER more than 50%.
So the drivers take a cut out of the deal.
I don't know who takes the cut, but definitely someone is smiling.
Well, that's very interesting because that's an eye-opening gap actually, and that's something that you're able to plug that gap, and I think that will be a tremendous value add to all of the various hospital owners, developers, and even doctors that we have in our audience today. So thank you for highlighting that and providing a solution. Most of all, it's not just about problem, but also a feasible and easily implementable solution. So thank you, Karthik. Appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Executives from Red Health are available here in the arena, and if you'd like to reach out to Karthik or any of his colleagues, they are available throughout the course of the day. We shall now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is a panel discussion on healthcare infrastructure of the future, sustainable, digital, and perhaps most important of all, resilient, robust and resilient. How do we weather any storm that comes our way? And to be the moderator for this discussion, please help me welcome on stage Dr. Rakesh Kapoor, who is the Medical Director of Urology and Kidney Transplant at Medanta Hospital, a veteran of the business. And I'd like to introduce our panelists as well. Please help me welcome on stage Mr. Manu Malhotra, who's the founder, partner, and director of IIDC Architects and RSMS Architects. Also, we have Ms. Brinda Sengupta, who's the Vice President of HKS Asia Pacific Design Consulting. Brinda, who's been with us for several of our initiatives in the past as well. Welcome back. We also have Mr. Ravideep Singh, who's the Associate Director of Creative Designer Architects. And also Mr. Ashok Kumar, who's the Director of Art and Design. Mr. Vinay Kumar Sharma, who's the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder at Tender Palm Super Specialty Hospital. And we couldn't have Mr. Vijay Sinha from Skyline Infra, but we have a colleague from Skyline Infra. Please help me welcome on stage the representative from Skyline Infra to be a part of this discussion as well. So, Dr. Rakesh, the stage is yours. How do we build hospitals that are resilient and robust for the future? Please do.
Since I have joined as Medical Director of Medanta Hospital, Lucknow, I have been given this opportunity to talk about. If you see the health infrastructure, if you talk about in the 70s and what is happening now, lot of changes what people have talked about, that we have to build up a system which is safe. What we talked about resilience, which we have talked about the infrastructure which we have to build up. Now we have the pollutions board, we have to have the maximum utilization, energy savings, and all those things we have to talk about, which Astral talked about, that the new structures which are coming up, you can come in a big way in structuring the thing which will be running a long time. Like the Red Health talked about, it's a very important thing now we have to consider about that patient reaches the hospital safely, and before he reaches the hospital, which we talked about is the golden hour, we should be there, and patient is treated, the information should be there in the ER. Now the hospital instruction, we talked about the fire safety, we talked about the water conservation, we talked about the electric conservation, the pollutions, the dispense, like the hospital waste, how we are taking care of that hospital waste. These all are very important questions. And in the infrastructure, what we are talking about, it is the very important aspects, and we have good experts with us. They have been given the questions, and I will request all of them to stick to time. Probably we are a little bit.
It is that you can actually build something which satisfies everybody's goal, and we've kind of created a framework. If that's followed, then it's easy to kind of satisfy all of them. So one of them is that cost of care. We ensure that the hospitals which we are building, the first cost of that is effective in terms of the area which we are building, the per square footage per bed, is optimal for the city, for the group or for the masses for which it is created. We ensure that the second cost, which is the operational cost of the building, that's also effective in terms of that, we use softwares, etc., to ensure that, our air conditioning loads are less, because hospitals happen to be energy guzzlers. We ensure that the segregation of traffic of various, users in the hospital is done in a way that we reduce the manpower in terms of ensuring which is utilized for security, etc., etc. So that kind of addresses a lot of things for the various user groups. The second is the quality of care we provide. So how do we bring the care from design perspective? Is that we design buildings which are biophilic in nature. There's a lot of light coming in. The ICUs are kind of designed in a way that the patients do not suffer from ICU psychosis. And how we design the nursing units, depending on the floor plate size, whether it needs to be centralized or decentralized, making sure that there's not a lot of travel distance from the nursing station to the patient. Then the other aspect, which is very critical from a hospital perspective, is the cost of compliance. We still see a lot of designs where we try and navigate, how we can navigate NBC for doing less, but we personally in our designs ensure that, the compliances are to its peak, because one, that the patients are immunocompromised, and tomorrow if the promoter is trying to get in some investors and trying to sell its stakes, we want to be sure that the hospitals are complying to the national building codes or to the international standards. The fourth important aspect is the return on investment. We ensure that all our projects are future-proofed for the expansion. Like if you look at the state of UP, it has recently gone through major bylaws changes, in terms of ground coverages, FCSI, height, etc., etc. So including the parking norms. So I think as a state, with the recent changes, there has been considerable leverage that has been given, and they've tried to incorporate the challenges which the other states face, right? So if you actually future-proof all of this, then it makes a win-win situation for everyone. So that's the framework. If you actually work around that, it kind of satisfies everyone's goal without compromising on anybody else's goal.
Thank you. Because if you see, in old times, like the medical college when it was built, the building was built in that particular way, where the compliance, the cost, and the patient comfort was not there. Now if you see the new hospitals coming up, like the ambulance coming to the ER, from there it is picked up, the infrastructure is like that. From there, if he has to move for investigation, he has to move for intervention radiology or the cardiology. There should be such structure should be there that patient maneuverability is excellent and no time is lost. I think the second question for you was scalability, adaptability are crucial for future hospital design. How do you envision hospital construction evolving to prioritize efficiency while remaining adaptable to emerging healthcare demands? I think if you want to put some highlight on this, otherwise you have answered all the questions in the first group. So since time is a constraint, I might go to the second question. question is for Ms. Brinda Sen Gupta. The question is that hospital construction involves navigating complex components from regulations to end user needs. What challenges have you faced in aligning design intent with a real world execution, and how did you overcome that? And the second question which is attached to this is, if you have unlimited resources, what's the one motivation you will introduce into hospital infrastructure to make it both resilient and sustainable?
So first part is about the challenges that we face. And as designers, of course, there are many challenges, but our ultimate goal is to work with the stakeholders and overcome them and understand the client's needs. So a few of the challenges, so HKS, where I'm from, is actually an international design firm. And one of the challenges that we face is, and that's faced by all architects, all designers here, is that the regulations for healthcare keep on changing, and they are not even changing across the country at the same pace. So while you take certain things as given in one state, it completely changes in another. The National Building Code is there, and it does define things like building height, the height of critical care for patients, for example 30 meters. Above that you can't build OTs. But in many states it's pretty common not to follow it, and the state follows its own rules. So many times there is this negotiation of what really applies and what does not, and a lot of the decisions come to us when the design has already taken an assumption and gone forward, and that's when things change. So this whole regulatory framework is a constant challenge that we face always, and if there was a way of standardization or regular updates, that would be very good, because everything otherwise is interpretation of the licensing architect and what the current government or the current person on the chair is going to allow. The second thing, of course, is about end users, as you mentioned, that there are a lot of users, and we heard a lot of doctors in the morning, and we know how many challenges they have, and there are constraints on budget. But oftentimes we need somebody from the hospital administrator's side to channelize this, to have the end user's requirements, but then one person needs to decide and then give the requirements, instead of everybody trying to work in a very democratic way. That also derails projects sometimes. So that's one of the challenges we face when there are multiple users and multiple opinions coming at different times, and then people would not understand what comment is relevant at what stage. So concept design, that we call, which is the very initial envisioning of a project, does not show the level of detail, but people will ask us questions which are related to the end stage. So understanding the design process, I think it's up to us also as designers to explain to stakeholders, to the people, that what is the design process, what decisions are required at what time. So these are just some, of course there are many challenges, but these are the two key ones that I wanted to bring up here. And the second part of the question, which was like, if resources are not an issue, what is the one innovation that we want to do? I mean, the best answer would be AI and technology, and everybody wants to do that. But I think we have to think about innovation beyond just technology at this time. And for me personally, because I'm also an urban designer as well as architect who does healthcare, I would think of having this healthcare to be uplifted beyond the hospital. Not just about the hospital, it's not just about ICUs, it's about bringing the healthcare infrastructure at every level, be it the community clinics, like how we had the family physicians before, be it at the, like the outpatient center, which can be in a neighborhood. And then comes the hospital, and then also talk about prevention of disease, and not just as the ultimate, hospital as the place to go. if the entire infrastructure is in place and we are looking at improving healthcare and wellness at each and every step and improving and using the resources to improve that, the pressure on the hospital itself will reduce. And if resources are not a concern, then that's something that I would hope for.
A consultant. It is very important to understand once you are building up a hospital, if you don't invest in the beginning, if you don't have the infrastructure in the proper way, maybe you would be spending more money tomorrow. So it is very important to understand, like Medanta Group, if we talk about, we are going to start the hospital in the Noida, we are having it in Bombay, Guwahati and all that. And our aim is always that infrastructure, all the things should be, in the beginning they should be complete. Because it's very, if you see these hospitals who are mushrooming coming up, वो जो छोटी छोटी जगह है उसी को करके they will make OT, then we will make the patient ramp would not be a proper there. So I think that's a very important thing which you have highlighted. And the another thing which you talked about, even we should go at the level of the home. Now we have more elderly population. So in they have the problems of fall, they have fractures and all that. So not only in the hospital, we have to have, if the new societies are coming up, buildings are coming up, these buildings should also take care that once the patient, if something has happened, some accident has happened, how to transport the system. And inside the house also, we should take care of, we should guide them, not only making up a good 4-bedroom house, they have to take care of that if they are in trouble and how they should take care of if they are in emergency. Now, Professor Rajendra Prasad is probably not there. Is he joining? So I'll go to the next speaker, Ravi Deep Singh. The question is that what cutting edge technology do you foresee playing a critical role in creating resilient and secure hospital infrastructures? And the second question is, in your opinion, what's the biggest technological game changer that will shape hospital designs in the next 5 years?
Thank you. So in my opinion, I believe healthcare since the very beginning, if you look back 150, 200 odd years, has been driven by technology of some shape or the other. Moving ahead, I see technology's impact in healthcare in 3 primary areas. One would be patient experience. A second would be how could technology enhance the operational efficiency as well as the clinical care efficiency in the hospital. And third, how could technology make the healthcare infrastructure's impact on the environment more sensitive. So talking about patient experience, I believe we've come a really long distance from designing hospitals, say in the late 90s or the early 2000s, which were merely functional field hospitals with absolutely minimal to low emphasis on patient experience, biophilia, the importance of daylight, as against hospitals today which are abreast with digital interfaces to create a better patient experience, help them improve the patient journey and navigation inside the hospital, LED screens inside the OPDs for a better patient orientation experience. So I think from a patient experience perspective, moving ahead, we can look at technology more in terms of how AI augmented robots can come into play. We had robot technologies like Moxie and Pepper, which were physical assistance robot or emotional support robot. So I think all of these models failed because AI was very nascent at that stage. But I think in the future, we can have more of these facilities being offloaded to technology so that human clinicians can focus more on purely clinical care. And that's one way we can streamline patient experience as well as enhance the efficiency of our caregivers. We could also look at technologies like generative AI or NLP, wherein healthcare can reach out to far-fetched areas where everybody does not speak the common language or a dialect, and technology can help them connect with the healthcare facilities. That's one area. Talking about efficiency in care delivery, I'm sure everybody agrees hospitals behind its closed doors and finished interiors have a very complex logistic support and management systems. So pneumatic tube systems, for example, have become an extremely commonplace in hospitals today. We are looking at more of advanced track-based, drone-based systems for advanced logistic management, robotic pharmacies wherein the human caregivers and human staff cannot keep up with the loads. I was looking about this Taiwan hospital which has a pharmacy load of 12,000 pharmacy prescriptions packaging in a single day. That is practically impossible to do it with human labor. So I think we need to carefully analyze the goals and objectives of the hospital, the location and the demographic, and strategically employ technology which can offload caregivers, help us save cost on FTEs and focus purely on clinical care. Talking about the environmental impact, hospitals are massive guzzlers of energy. The energy use intensity of a normal hospital is at least 2.5–3 times of an office building of a comparable size. And fundamental technologies like a BMS have been in operation since last 15–20 years, but I think the real gap is its implementation, lack of trained building managers who can really use these systems to its finest potential. In my opinion, a fully functional AI-driven building management system that has AI built in can really save about 30–40% of the building's operational energy, which is a significant saving for any hospital, given how expensive it is to run hospitals today. So I think these are the three areas where technology would significantly ramp up. And talking about the single most important thing in the next 5 years in terms of technology, I foresee digital twins as something that is extremely capable in all facets that I described above. I'm talking particularly about resilience. I think post-pandemic, everybody, all healthcare architects, providers, everybody have come together to talk about how can hospitals perform better in case of mass casualties, a fire outbreak, or a pandemic. We've been designing the floor plans with alternate scenarios wherein hospitals can surge bed capacities, create separate triages. But I think through a digital twin, which is essentially a virtual replica of buildings, physical assets, the workflows, systems, equipments, we can actually simulate those alternate scenarios to ascertain their efficiency. So I think if we really take this forward in terms of utilizing what digital twins can do, it can really help us not only save cost, allow us to become more efficient, but also more resilient against unpredictable scenarios. Thank you.
Excellent review you have given. That's the most important thing. If you have heard all the experienced persons here, once you are coming up with a hospital, initial as funds are a crunch, that is there. But if you have all the technologies, infrastructure, building is first. Then next comes is infrastructure. Like now the things are AI driven, you have to use all the best technology, digital level, EMR system. So if you have all the things in the beginning, like in Gurgaon, now we have seen the failures and success in say Gurgaon Hospital and the Lucknow Medanta Hospital. In all those jo bhi kamiyan thi, now we have tried to oversee those problems, and in the Noida Medanta Hospital, we are trying to overcome all those things. Now everything would be digitalized. No paperwork would be there in our Noida facility. So it's very important. And it is very important to make the public aware of all those things, because still if you see, people have concept कि हम सस्ते में अस्पताल बना देते हैं, ओटी बन जाएगा, उसमें किस मॉड्यूलर ओटी नहीं है जैसे पुराने ज़माने में होता था. तो it is the duty of all of us, even coming from the industries and all that properly guide. I think these type of meetings and these type of awareness programs, those who are coming in medical industry will help them, because everybody talks about EBITDA, everybody talks about what would be the profit. That is important, I am not saying, but important thing in the beginning, if you plan it properly, the way everybody is talking about, in the long run up, it would be profitable, it would be resilient, and definitely we have to think about the pollutions, the green energy, and all those things. We have to work on that. So our next speaker would be Ashok Kumar, Mr. Ashok Kumar, and the question for them is, when planning greenfield hospitals, what factors should drive the design between building a new versus leasing and optimizing existing infrastructure? Can you share a case where this choice significantly impacted growth? And the second question for him would be, what's one common misconception about hospital construction that you wish people would understand what I talked about?
So it's nice to be here, and I'm happy that we are having a accomplished panel to have discussion on very emerging technologies and this kind of subject which is going to be of interest to all. So so far as the question itself is concerned, I'm sure it's not always that we have a choice to go for a greenfield design of a project or maybe repurposing. Is any one of the two, because any client will come with a certain brief, and that will be either a greenfield project being designed or maybe repurposing. But then, as a matter of fact, the question is very interesting, where we can discuss both the aspects, that as and when this comes to the situation, it can be dealt with. So starting with the greenfield project, naturally, when you have a greenfield project, you start with a virgin land where you have a land of certain size. So anybody who comes to us, and since we are into healthcare design in a big way, so all the clients, whether they are public, private or corporate, all different kind of situations, the land is there, then we have to deal with the situation of how the regulations and how the context of site impacts the design. For example, we have a site in a very well-developed location, very easily accessed location, then the other things are not that critical. But then if you have a site which is having, let's say, only one-sided road, and other things are, the context of site is that you have adjoining properties of a tall buildings and so on, naturally. So the regulations will play a great role in terms of seeing as to how we are going to navigate the situation and how we are going to get the building formed. Moreover, in today's context, when the bylaws and regulations are very stringent and relevant to be followed, the role of National Building Code also is quite important. As one of the panelists mentioned, that NBC has got a peculiar mandate that we have a healthcare facility up to 30 meters of height, and beyond we cannot have critical care facilities. But at the same time, you also see that in many places you can see the OTs and critical cares falling in the 7th and 8th floor or 9th, 10th floors and so on. Recently, there was a fresh, I think it's about 2 weeks ago only, Government of India has mandated that the NBC is not a mandatory provision. It's going to be an advisory and suggestive tool. That means now we have only local regulations to follow, and NBC's stipulations could only be as a general guideline. So that's one respite, I would say. And secondly, in today's context, when we are designing a building afresh, the sustainability and the green building concerns are very, very important. And let me tell you, the buildings we are designing in Lucknow also and outside also, and we are essentially trying to get them GREA certified or LEED certified. And in the recent construction, we have done one of the super specialty hospital in Rourkela. That was for Steel Authority of India Limited. So there also we got 4-star rated. In other projects, we are getting 5-star rated too. So it's why? Because there are incentives also. Of course, government has given incentives. So in today's context, supposing in Uttar Pradesh you build up a hospital and you have green rating done, for 5-star rating you get 7% extra FAR. That means if your total built up area is about 3 lakh square feet, almost 21,000 square feet area you are getting free to build. So that's the kind of incentive, and this is one part. The second part is that sustainability, meaning if a building is green, you're going to be very, very, you're going to be put to a great amount of advantage in long run. Because look at we also had one remark in the sense that When you have a building today, and let's say there is a power consumption of 50 kilowatt, for example, one figure, and if the building is really made green and the sustainability features are absolutely in place, the energy efficiency is going to have a result of saving of power itself to the tune of about 25-30%. That means your power bills are going to be reduced, your power consumption is going to be reduced, so it's going to be in the longer run, it's a value for money. And you can also say that maybe in some cases the capex is a little high. So about 10% extra cost at the initial stage will give you a longer and better mileage in times to come. And generally it's about 5 years, 6 years time when you really get the value back, the money back. But then all said and done, this is not to be done only for sake of getting certified. It's also to ensure that when you have a green building, the indoor air quality, the kind of spaces you have, the kind of feel of the spaces you have, the healing effect, the areas which are there inside the hospital will have perfect infection control and all these kind of things. This is one part. Second, the green building will also have a lot more to do with the good quality of light coming into the interiors. So your wall window ratio has to be perfect. Your material selection has to be again appropriate in the sense that they have to be zero maintenance or least maintenance. So these things definitely give you a financial saving in years to come and days to come. And that's what really makes a difference when you plan a building, the greenfield building, as a sustainable one. So these are few very important aspects which one has to take care while designing a good hospital. And this is part of the planning and as to how we can really make the whole thing sustainable. Yet another point of concern is the stakeholders consultation at the stage of planning itself. So that the brief you normally get from user's perspective is truly translated into the design process, design phenomena. Because supposing we are doing a hospital for oncology, then the user's brief will have to be taken into consideration to the extent that every such facility is provided is of the best utilization level. And also the user, meaning the patient when comes in to the hospital, feels that his patient is very much at home. So the factor of empathy, which is to be offered by the promoter or the hospital management, is in the best shape, in the best manner, and that's more important. So as a fresh designer, as a designer who is going to take care of the design of the hospital, these very aspects, they are of paramount importance, so that the doctor or the person who has got the design done is also a very happy soul, and at the same time as a designer we also have the satisfaction that whatever has been designed is really going to make the purpose very well suited. So these are the kind of things that are important. Of course, when it comes to comparison with the spaces which are already built, let's say some property is already there, and you have to repurpose or redevelop this, then the advantages are there because sometimes if you have a situation where a property is already there and building is already there and you have to repurpose, then time taken is much less against the fresh construction. But then challenges are more. You cannot really have total freedom to design the building the way you want. You don't have the total freedom to have the finishes or even the window sizes and kind of lighting, kind of everything that you want. Because in a built environment, you don't even have the choice of having a building oriented to the manner that you are looking for. Whereas when you design a building, you can always place the windows, doors, and such things at your choice. So the comparison of the built and repurposed building, they're quite obvious that you don't have tremendous choice. And secondly, if you see the old buildings, they always have a limited life because some building has already lived its life to some extent. And then the structural sizes, the room sizes, the height of the room and everything is rather fixed. So you at times feel handicapped that you cannot really use it the way you want. Whereas in new construction, you can have total freedom. So these are a couple of comparisons which definitely stand quite eminent. And then the second question, the second part of the question, that is about how people see this. So generally, hospital construction is not any routine run-of-the-mill kind of construction or the design challenge also. So having a building designed like a hospital is something far too different and complex, because here one has to not only cater for the structural and spaces or the special arrangement and the structural systems, building services, aesthetics, interior and exterior both. There is much more than that, and that is we have to plan the space which is going to be for the clinical workflow and for the infection control, for the quality of space is going to be healing.
A lot of countries now, those who the patient used to visit Singapore, USA and Europe, they are seeing India as a hub of health services. And these big hospitals which are coming up, they need JCI accreditation or NABH accreditation. So these JCI is not just for the purpose of that you need that accreditation, you will get more patients. They go through your infrastructure and then they certify it. So that's the very important thing. So what we have to emphasize in the beginning, we talked about AI. In 2025, things are changing. Not even in health infrastructure. You talked about commercial buildings and all that, how the light is reflected, how much they get wound up, and so many things are there. So I think that is a very important aspect. In the beginning, it has to be emphasized both as an interior designer, as a building designer, because making building is not the only thing. So many things, infrastructure, you talked digitization, we talked about so many things. So they should be part from the beginning. They should not be left over कि पहले building आ जाए फिर हम बनाएंगे. So I think that's a very important aspect which you talked about. And the last one is Mr. Vijay Sinha is not there on his part. No problem.
So to start with, biophilic architecture primarily involves bringing outside nature within the building and the positive impact it has on the occupants of the building, in this case being the patients as well as the healthcare staff that is present. So through scientific studies, it has been proven that it is not just a fancy architectural term, but it is something that actually has a positive impact, which has been clearly evident through several scientific journaling and research studies. So the outcome of the studies was an improved well-being of patients and staff, reduction of emotions of fear and stress within the patient relatives. So this could be done through a small design intervention, such as maybe creation of healing gardens on the hospital rooftop, where the patient could be taken and they can again, rather than having the psychosis of the being within the hospital, they can feel connected to the outside environment. So in a small conclusive remark, I would like to say that biophilic architecture turns hospitals into therapeutic environments that don't just heal patients but also the staff and their relatives, etc. Thank
you. Your point on digital twin actually resonated with me a lot because I'm involved with certain. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm actually involved with certain biotech firms who are working with AI, and one of them being AI-powered liver diagnostics to detect early fatty liver and early detection of fatty liver. So wherein we are creating a digital twin of liver. So since you mentioned about digital twin of a hospital, I wanted to ask you, can it go beyond the infrastructure and reflect the patient flow or diagnostic overload or resource bottlenecks in real time?
Absolutely. So I think a digital twin of a hospital are overloaded, which departments are underloaded. For example, in my radiology department, there is a significant problem of equipment idling. The X-ray machines are turned on way beyond they are needed. So excess of energy is being wasted in those areas. So a digital twin would give me real-time information of all the buildings, physical as well as mobile assets. So that is what is happening. A lot of softwares are available. Like I mentioned, the real gap in the implementation is the lack of trained building managers and operators who can use these systems to its potentials. So what we've been doing is we've been working with the OEMs of these building management systems so that there is an increased sort of assistance provided by them to ensure that over a 3 or 5 year period, these systems are being utilized the way they're designed for.
Infrastructure. So we were already discussing that there are major infrastructure with the big brand names, bigger names right now in India. But what about the old institutes? Means how we are working, means जैसे कि डॉक्टर कपूर सर said कि छोटे-छोटे रैम्स होते हैं, उनमें छोटे-छोटे रूम्स होते हैं, उनमें ही हम मतलब puzzle up करते हैं. So I consider कि digitally is means if we are talking about a digital revolution, so it should not means resistant to the only the bigger project. Why not for the smaller units? So do we have some plans if we are planning the small units and even for the older hospitals who are already there and who are already doing good, where we have a big names in medical, and but they have a very small units. So how can means how a digital infrastructure can help them? That's it. Thank you.
Since the funds are not there, or it may not be viable to have pneumatic tube systems and all that stuff, right? There are simple robots which are available, which can be linked with IoT, and it can be done in the older setups also, which can dispense the medicine not only to the nursing counter but to the patient rooms actually. So there are ways to there are new things which are coming up, so you can actually utilize all of that in the older setups.
You asked very relevant questions. I am not the expert, basically, infrastructure man to answer these questions. But sometimes if you see the health infrastructure which we are coming up, there are small hospitals, say in Gonda, in Balia if you are going up. Maybe all those things, they should try to follow these things because in long run up it is going to help them. Probably more important things if we are building a big hospital, 500 bed hospital, 1000 bed hospital in metro cities, then these things are very relevant. Now converting a old hospital building into the recent infrastructure is a hurricane job. Most of the time if you probably the hospital would be spending more money in refurbishing the things and reorganizing the things rather than making it a new hospital, because building ko gira ke nayi building laye. If you see in the West, it happens, pura stadium gira dete hain and they come up, because you will be in a long run up, you would be it would be profitable. And if converting an old building, I don't think is so profitable, काम चल जाएगा. So I think probably you also wanted, I think last questions since we have.
Good afternoon everyone, my name is Puneet Jaiswal and I represent FSCI over here. So my question is to Manu sir as well as Ashok sir, since they are both from the architecture and MEP side. So my point is how do an architect and MEP consultant ensures a fire safe design without compromising the aesthetics and basics of the hospital structure as required by the client?
Yeah, I'll reply to this question. Plumbing and all that, electrical, HVAC. These are the basic. And then of course other services like you have BMS and all these digital intervention services which are in today's context equally important in terms of operation, energy efficiency, energy auditing and so on. So when we design the building, we start with a basic plan where your functions are fully translated, which is a mandate of the design brief of the users, that is the stakeholders. But once the basic plan is done, then the different consultants or different specialists of the services, they are given the same plan to all of them at the same time. And then they come up with the suggestions and comes up how they wish to carry their services more effectively. Because designing is not simply a design. The designing is basically how best we can integrate the services and in the most economical manner. You would also be getting across these kind of situations when some firefight is going on and then maybe some AC duct is clashing with that. So nowadays we have a technical solution to that. That is, BIM modeling is done for all the design tools and instruments. And during the designing process, these clash detections are done. That means, supposing you are designing a hospital and you have done it, the design is done, then the BIM intervention lets us know if there is any clash. And if there are so, then we immediately sort them out. So once they are sorted out, then the drawings are released to the construction site. And therefore the drawings which are released ultimately after thorough coordination among all stakeholders, meaning among all designers, the design is clash free. So you go to the site, you start the construction, there is nothing going to hinder at site. So that's the best part of it. So this is again a kind of advancement that has come in the designing process through BIM intervention. And the services role is very important because services cost is quite high. The services placement is quite important for the reasons of safety, for the reasons of economy, and all these coordination purposes. So I think all said and done, the MEP's role is quite important, and especially you will see that every fortnight we get to know about some fire incident in some of the hospitals. So that only shows that probably at some point in time there have been some negligence in terms of the planning or in terms of the coordination issues, and these things should be avoided. These things should be well attended at the initial stage so that the loss of lives and loss of all these things is avoided at all costs. Thank you.
Malhotra, you have talked about compliances. A lot of compliances we are facing in small setups, medical establishment. How to reduce the cost of compliances? Can you elaborate something?
Cost of what?
Compliances.
Well, what needs to be done in terms of addressing the compliances. I think we are working with various bodies like NBC and fire safety associations, especially from the fire perspective. I mean, it's something which cannot be ignored. But I do understand that for a smaller setup, we need to have a different kind of a code which kind of ensures the safety, but really doesn't require everything that is required in a bigger setup. I mean, whether it is to do with the corridor widths or whether it is to do with the number of staircases. Because if you're trying to build smaller setups on a smaller plot and you still have to give 2 fire towers of 2 meter width, they practically take away 50-60% of the floor space. So I do understand the challenge. I think there are bodies which are working on it aggressively. I mean, so maybe next year or so we are looking at some changes happening in national building codes, and fire safety association is also working with them. So that's all.
Spoken much about, I think, in this panel, and some hospitals are implementing this hub and spoke model. Do you think that it's something that should be more widely implemented? If not, then why not? And if it's something that is so obvious, then why aren't more brands and hospitals and developers implementing this seemingly straightforward model and solution? Maybe Mr. Ashok, since you briefly spoke about real estate as well, this could be real estate is prime, land is gold. So why do you think the hub and spoke model, especially in the outer regions, less populated towns, etc., have the spokes there and the hub, the grand 500-bed hospital with all the bells and whistles, have that in the city center or in the city at least?
Yes, I think there are already examples available, like Tata Memorial Hospital is one where they are operating from Bombay with their base. But then they're having, different regions, their centers. Fortunately, I'm doing 2 of them, one in Bihar and one in Guwahati. So what's being done is that they are trying to ensure that their outreach is there in the regional sector, and they still maintain their center in Mumbai.
Why do you think this is not so prevalent? These are possible. Why do you think more brands are not following this model?
Yeah, because I think no, it's not that they're not following. They're going to follow. They're rather following now, because the healthcare sector is now getting more and more visible. and accessible to all. Initially, when you will see that most of people will run to Delhi, Bombay, and all these bigger places only. Now the healthcare facility is running other way around. Medanta is coming to Lucknow, Patna, and all these places. Not that Medanta is one. Medanta is getting access to other places too. Similarly, other brands also. I'm talking about Max and other hospitals. So this happens to all healthcare providers who are going to have their outreach in different areas. So I think it's going to be a new trend.
When do you think that will happen? When do you think this will become the mainstream?
Yeah, it's going to be another 5 years down the line, and you see things will be much, much different. And I'm sure healthcare sector, what it was about a decade ago, is not the same. And I'm sure next 10 years it will have a very, very radical change scenario, for sure.
Digital hospitals. We spoke about that.
I personally don't think this hub and spoke model really worked. I mean, in late 90s, early 2000s, there was a model where most hospitals were trying to have this hub and spoke model. But with the way the consolidation is going on, with the way the funding is coming into the health sector, I think each unit is now a self-sustainable unit. So, I mean, except for absolute quaternary care facilities which are required for, but even that is kind of diminishing. When you're doing projects in Gorakhpur and so many other places, smaller towns, where we're designing facilities which have got liver transplant centers and all that. So I think that hub and spoke model actually got forgotten or vanished, in post 2000s.
It's overrated?
I think it started in the West primarily for cancer care, and the reason was certain expertise could not be replicated in certain far offshoot sites. So that's where hub and spoke model still makes sense, where certain expertise of certain speciality cannot be replicated. But as Mr. Manu said, absolutely every unit wants to be self-sustainable. So I think that's where the real efficiency comes into play.
See, in health infrastructure, what is not happening in India is that if you go to peripheral cities and all that, there is mushrooming of small nursing homes. What happened, if you see the Medanta success story, when the Medanta, nobody was expecting that Medanta, when it comes, he will do so well. And what happens as Medanta's success was there, mushrooming of corporate hospitals are coming up. What government has to do and what everybody has to decide, that there should not be mushrooming of corporate hospital at one place. If you see in Lucknow, if you see in the periphery, these scales of hospital like in Banaras, like in Gorakhpur, all other cities, Allahabad and all that, government should only give licenses, these corporate hospitals, like you talked about Tata. Tata in good way, it is coming to peripheral areas, bringing up there. So in health infrastructure also this is very, corporate is important in metro cities also. But at one place, if you bring 10 corporate big hospitals, all like Paras, Fortis, Apollo, everybody is coming in one particular area, then lot of competition is there. Then you start talking about the competition of the patients, all sorts of malpractices, they start popping up. So government should work in this direction also. Otherwise, patient from Gorakhpur has to come to Lucknow or he has to go to Delhi. If a good facility comes up of a corporate in Gorakhpur, why he should run? Patient convenience would be there, health infrastructure should improve. And government, the main problem in government, like so many All India institutes have come up. But basically, building has come up. But infrastructure-wise, if you talk about, they are not able to provide that tertiary care. Still, either they are dependent on SGPGI or in the private sector. So that is a very important thing.
That's right, yes.
Lack of doctors and trained professionals also. I'm saying lack of doctors and trained professionals and all this.
There is no lack of doctors if you see above. Everywhere in India. See, the problem is, like, if a doctor comes out, then if you are going to a first thing, Gorakhpur, Gonda, if All India Institute of Medical Colleges have come up, facilities are not there. What doctor will do there? The facilities, like once Dr. Tehan talked about the medical facilities, we have primary, secondary and tertiary care. What should happen is that primary care can be given to these small government hospitals and other. Secondary care you can provide to these medical colleges or to the other places, remote hospitals, CSCs and others. For tertiary care, it is a huge expenditure, doctors availability, expertise. You can't get an expert interventionist cardiologist in 2 lakh rupees or 3 lakh. He's earning a huge amount if he's in a corporate and giving better services, all the things available. In these small, you have constraints in government hospitals. I'm not saying they should not come up. So there is not lack of doctors, it is the lack of the planning. You have to, as I said in the beginning, the government, the corporate and all have to come together. Why government should spend, it should give subsidy to the hospital, the cost will come less and then we can provide services to these patients. So that is, you have all the burden on, as I was director as GPGI. The main issue at that time I was with getting the patient admitted. Politicians used to get angry, everybody used to get angry because they are not getting paid there. So that is the most, the infrastructure has to change, our thinking has to change, planning has to change.
We all have to evolve, and on that positive note of how we all have to change and evolve, we have to conclude the discussion for now. Thank you all very much for our panelists for sharing your experience and knowledge with us. So discussion further offline. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, the agenda, which is another panel discussion on smart healthcare delivery, bridging gaps with innovation. First, Ms. Parul Budraja Khana, who is the director.
Leveraging technology to enhance healthcare accessibility, affordability, and efficiency. To create a can have the access to its medical records digitally. Public-private partnership will augment the healthcare system of our country.
Most evolution, because of telemedicine, we can reach the unreached population, like in rural areas and where the females, mostly the females are not able to come to doctor. In India, country like in India, the female are usually hesitate to come and they cannot discuss their problem in front of staff or even in my practice. If I see, then the patient agar mere paas aata hai and they tell me ki madam, can I call you, can I WhatsApp you my problem. So since infertility to postnatal care, the telemedicine doing wonders. Really, it's a wonder. And for follow-up, I am running I am from Sumitra Eye Care and Maternity Center. So I am running a eye care hospital also. So for follow-up cases also, like in cataract surgery, after cataract surgery or diabetic retinopathy also, the patient are very much happy with their follow-ups and all. And in gynae perspective of view, if we'll talk, then in PCOS, long-term follow-up is very much needed. And telemedicine helped us a lot. Like in PCOS, endometriosis, infertility, counseling of infertility couple. And if we'll do the basically follow-up of the infertility couple in postnatal period, women are, if they are stick to bed, they have to see their family, they have to see their other kids also. So they are not able to come and contact to doctor. With this virtual clinic and telemedicine, they are only a call away to the doctor. And they can upload their ultrasound report. We can monitor their PNC and ANC patient also with the help of telemedicine. Their physical visit is cut down so that the cost and doctor clinic overcrowding is also less with the help of telemedicine. And for your next question, I would like to tell you that with the help of telemedicine, the lot of patient, they're not like if the patient is simply if the patient is having a problem of dysmenorrhea, dysfunctional uterine bleeding, then she can upload her report, she can talk to doctor and she can take the treatment. Since similarly in PI, if she is having in ANC, PIH is very common, gestational diabetes is very common. So she can follow her problems, and we can, with the help of telemedicine, there is records will be there. We can put the record, and there should not be duplicacy with that, with the help of telemedicine. Thank you.
So the next question is to Director Strategic and Operation, Alpine Plus Diagnostic, Ms. Parul Budraja Khanna. How technology enable patient safety and outcomes? And the second question is, what role can telemedicine and remote monitoring play in improving access to the healthcare services and reducing healthcare costs?
Thank you, it's a pleasure to be here. So to answer your first question, how technology enables patient safety and outcomes. See, it improves patient safety when it reduces guesswork, when it reduces delays, when it reduces human errors. And I personally believe that, and not because I am from diagnostics, that is one part of what I do, but I believe that diagnostics should be the first line of defense. It's definitely there to support, to enable the hospitals to doctors, but that should be your first mode of action and not thought of as, the last resort or an afterthought. And since I'm here to represent Alpine, let's take that example. Let's take Alpine's example, right? So what we do is we have AI-powered imaging, we have advanced automation, and we are the first ones in all of UP to offer in-house NGS, that is next generation sequencing. And the purpose for Alpine to invest in NGS was, to help with early detection, to help with accurate diagnosis, precise diagnosis, for faster turnaround times, which would lead to targeted therapies sooner than later. And we have a lot of hospital partners, a lot of doctors who have adapted this, and thankfully they only have praises for us because they implemented this in their workflow. The hospitals, to name a few, there's Chandan, there's Tenderpalm, there are others, there's Health City. Once they implemented this in their workflow, when they adopted this this service from us, they were able to save patient lives. And the patient lives which they thought they couldn't have saved, because it helped them diagnose in a timely manner, because it helped them with the diagnosis that they work on, the doctors, they could work on those diagnoses. So that is one part of it. And see, it's not just about giving faster reports, it's about catching the disease early. And that eventually helps with the patient outcomes. So other than that, we also integrate LIMS and barcoding to prevent or minimize manual error. And I think with technology, it's not here to replace us, but enable us. It's how we perceive it, how we receive it, how we educate ourselves to be able to make the most use of it, to maximize it in our professions. So, see, empathy can't be automated. So human intervention will always be imperative. That's my answer. I think your second question?
The second question was, what was the role of telemedicine and remote monitoring playing in improving access to healthcare services and reducing healthcare costs?
Yeah. So I think part of it, Dr. Tripti has already answered, but I'll take a stab at it too. So when we talk about affordability and accessibility, it's not a geography-bound conversation anymore, and that's thanks to telemedicine and teleconsultation or telereporting, right? So it helps with constant follow-ups. It helps, go beyond the hospital walls in underserved rural tier 3 areas where it's not possible. It helps with continuity of care. It helps with the chronic disease management, which is a growing burden globally, and India is a leader in that. How it helps saves costs, it basically prevents hospital readmission, it prevents ER visits, it prevents from any sort of complications. So that's what teleconsultation and tele-reporting monitoring does. And at Alpine, we also do teleconsultation, we provide digital reports, so that is our bit that we can do for the patients and their families. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think it's about the digital literacy, and those are few challenges, because unless we train ourselves, we'll just think of it as a, for the lack of better word, as an opponent instead of, embracing it. So it's that's one of the challenges, and the other challenge, a serious challenge, is data privacy. But I'm sure there are ways to, mend that too. Yeah, thank you.
My next super specialty, Dr. Wasif Raza. From the doctor's lens, how are innovations improving patient's care and clinical outcome on the ground? That's the first question. And along with that, the second question is how data analytic and wearable techs are enabling personalized care and predictive health interventions.
Right, thank you, sir. As a clinician, I can say plainly, innovation does improve outcomes, but only when it takes into consideration the realities of clinical practice. Innovations, when they are flashy, they're not as good. They have to be functional, and they have to help me take quicker decisions, decisions that are safe, and they improve the safety of my patient, and they get my patient more involved. I can give you a few examples from my clinical practice. I'm a colon and rectal cancer surgeon. So in India, we don't have a screening program for colorectal cancer. Recently in Apollo hospitals, we have introduced the ColFit program. It is a very simple program. It comprises of a complete blood count and a FIT test, the fecal immunochemical test. It's simple, it's smart, it's scalable, and the strength lies in its accessibility, because the organization has reduced the cost to a bare minimum. This is helping us screen high-risk cancer patients and obviously intervene before the disease advances. So that's a very simple innovation. The other innovation that we all come from, we all have visited or are part of big hospital groups. Even in the government hospital setup, we have the EMR, the physicians, and they can intervene early. I have also seen EMRs that have risk calculators. Now, risk calculators, they help us predict mortality, morbidity, and they help us take more informed decisions about treatment planning. They help us interact with relatives of the patients or the patient himself or herself, and avoid any issues in the after period of or during the period of the treatment. So this is again a very simple innovation, but I think this is a very remarkable one. The other one is remote monitoring. Now, remote monitoring has helped my patients stay out of trouble. In the olden days, we used to wait for a patient to call when something went wrong. But nowadays, we got the smart glucometers, we got wearable ECGs, we got apps, we got mobile apps that can relay pictures, can relay videos. In my own practice, not very long ago, I came across this patient who sent me a picture of his wound, which was looking erythematous, it was looking inflamed. And I was hoping to call the patient at a later point, but I intervened and I called the patient in early. We investigated and found that the patient was developing a wound infection. We started antibiotics, and we could save the patient from developing a bigger complication. Now, we all know about minimal access surgery. There were a lot of surgeons here. Laparoscopic surgery in India was introduced a few decades ago, and that has taken the surgical practice leaps and bounds. But with the advent of robotic surgery and the availability in our hospitals nowadays, it is a massive boon, and it is just not about plain technology. It is about reducing pain. It is about quicker recovery. It is about preservation of function. As a colon and rectal cancer surgeon, probably more than a decade ago, it was very difficult to go deep down into a male pelvis to resect a rectal cancer, even with a laparoscope. But with the advent of robotic surgery, we can go down there. We can, maintain or conserve the mobility of the gut. We can prevent the patient from having a stoma, which probably maybe a decade ago that wasn't possible. Nowadays, I'm sure we all have noticed that there are so many digital engagement apps available, a lot of informative videos, which eventually makes my patient more smart. When my patients come to my clinic, they are well read, they are well researched, they ask me the right questions, they are more informed, and I think that is probably half the battle won. So I think innovation, again, I would like to reiterate, yes, it does produce or give you better outcomes, but it has to be with it has to have the realities of clinical practice in mind. It is not there to replace the doctor, but it is there to, make the doctor and the system more connected, more capable, and probably more human to empathize with. Now, answering your the other question about data analytics and wearable tech. Now, nowadays, I think data is no more retrospective. Data is prospective. Data is prescriptive. And as a clinician, I have seen recently, after having worked, I was in the United Kingdom. I worked for the NHS almost for 9 years. And having worked there and then coming back to India, I now see that there are two powerful shifts that are happening now. So with the data analytics, we are moving from patterns to predictions. Now we have the electronic health record systems, we have the laboratory predict patterns that are not visible to the naked eye. For example, wearable ECG devices giving you heart rate trends that could tell you about cardiac stress, or maybe sleep patterns, oxygen saturation, especially in post-bariatric system.
This is the state which we are. Lot of things have been done since I have age. We had been trained in the traditional environment. We work also changed. So transformation is a thing which has to be accepted. Information system in your hospital or the healthcare system. Once you have got the HIS, only then you start. It says everything. In HIS, you are doing all the data of admission, discharge, but in EHR, you are having all the electronic data recorded about the patient health, patient clinical state, his investigations, his labs, his pharmacy, his treatment chart, everything recorded in a single. Now, this is the thing, when it is recorded, it is like the patient is traveling with his health record every time. Then in the same scenario, this health information exchange. That means whatever this record has been there, it has to be transmitted. It can be transmitted to other doctor, hospital, or the healthcare facility. So we have to have HIE system in your hospital. Every doctor works with a different kind of words used for the disease or the treatment. For example, somebody says it is a maturity onset where we are taking. So sustainability, it is three kinds of sustainability. It's the environmental sustainability, in which we have discussed that we should have the hospitals where we are saving the energy, maybe in the form of solars. We should use more of the solars. We should avoid wastage of the water. We should have sensor water supply. We can have the HVAC system so that energy is saved, like a kind of green hospitals. So this is the one way, low cost, gradually we can do the waste management in a proper way. Then there is a economical sustainability. We have to definitely cut the cost of the treatment. We have to train and provide the proper, I would say, financial conditions to the staff, so they are looked after well. And then we should adopt all these digital matters, digital things like small, I would say small hospital information systems, not big one, so that we start with, at least our step should be towards that. And I think this is the only way we can sustain. We should, I would say, see in the future that we are able to provide the best of the health to everybody, including our staff and the society.
Universal coverage. Yes. Initially, when we were the student, and probably you at your time also, we used to have 5 years plans. Now yes. We are in 2025 and we are planning for 2050.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. My next question is to the Chief Executive Officer, Wilson Medicity Super Specialty Hospital, Mr. Anurag Singh. How do you see technology aiding innovation in prevention, diagnosis, as well as treatment of patients and enhancing clinical outcomes as a result?
Hi, thank you for calling me. And I'm actually blessed. I'm sitting with Sir, so senior to me. I think Sir said in 1985, and I was born in 1985. So it's a huge, I'm literally obliged for this. And as per your question, I think Sir and Dr. Tripti, Ms. Parul has already given the answers regarding the same, but still, I would say that the innovation and the integration is being considered. So the best example is the smartwatch. I think we are already now in the revolution era of the digital for the health, and we all are now wearing these smartwatches, and it is the most wearable tech, as Sir has said. You know, we can monitor our blood pressures, we can monitor our SpO2, we can it's making our life easy for the patients, easy for their attendants to understand what exactly is going through their bodies, and it can be diagnosed at a very early stage. So I think the revolution to start ho chuka hai. And other than this, digital pathologies and robotic surgeries, as Sir has discussed already, now we have Da Vinci systems, robotic systems, who are already doing very complex surgeries, and we have many robotic systems now, so who are performing a very complex surgeries. And I would say कि अभी तो competency काफी होती जा रही है doctors के लिए भी. So the thing is this. So I think the revolution to already initiate हो चुका है, and we are already sitting in that era where we are performing with the digital world.
ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आने वाले समय में जो है रोबोटिक सर्जरीज ही जो है पूरा मेडिकल प्रोफेशन को हैक कर लेगा.
Not exactly, but today I was going through a reel where जहाँ पे ये बोला जा रहा था कि now you have to work with the AI, otherwise AI will take your work. So we have to work with the AI systems to go through with the new technologies, and we have to understand the AI. इससे पहले कि AI will understand you. So we have to work with the AI.
The same was with when the computer was introduced.
Exactly. Then typewriters सब आपका replace हुआ था, but still we were the same. We opted the computers, and तो इसी तरह हमें AI भी opt करना पड़ेगा.
हमें smart करना पड़ेगा.
Exactly. Smart है, we have to work smarter now. Exactly.
The next question is, what are the challenges in implementing and integrating technology and digital solution, and how can healthcare organization as well as solution providers overcome this?
I think again Sir has answered all the challenges, because I think this question is exactly parallel to that question which Sir has already answered. But still what I would feel कि जो सबसे बड़ा challenge है वो infrastructure है. जो बेसिकली अभी भी इससे पहले वाले पैनल में भी हमारा जो डिस्कशन हो रहा था, what I was hearing about the bigger setups. It means we are coming in acres where we can perform digitally very well. We can have a good ramps where we can monitor them digitally. But the thing is not this. The challenge is कि मान के चलिए कि सर का कोई छोटा सा सेटअप है, ठीक है, and he is very emotionally attached to that particular setup, and you don't want to go to any bigger setup. आप वहाँ के locally हो, आप वहाँ के local लोगों से सालों से जुड़े हुए हो, तो आप क्या करोगे? So the challenge is again this thing. I would consider कि digitally हम तब अपने आप को strong मानेंगे कि हम एक बड़े setup को ही सिर्फ digitalize ना करके हम किसी छोटे का setup है, the old setup is there and we can renovate that particular setup. Then I would say कि हाँ हमने वो challenge कर लिया. तो सबसे बड़ा challenge तो infrastructure का है. अभी लखनऊ, कानपुर, इलाहाबाद इनको छोड़ दें. But if we talk about Gonda, if we talk about Azamgarh, Basti, Behraich, of course we have to work on this. कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एक स्टैंड, अगेन सर ने एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ बोली थी, स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन होना बहुत मस्ट है. एक मिनिमम स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन इज वेरी मच रिक्वायर्ड कि सबको वो फॉलो करना ही पड़े. अदर देन दिस व्हाट आई फील द चैलेंज इज अगेन डिजिटल लिटरेसी. इट शुड बी मस्ट. जैसे हम लोगों ने NABH अडॉप्ट किया है, चाहे प्री हो चाहे मेजर हो, एंड वी ऑल आर एक्चुअली डूइंग as per the protocols of the NABH, तो वो भी हमें छोटी छोटी जगहों पे भी उनके लिए उनके हिसाब से NABH में थोड़े बहुत चेंजेस करने चाहिए, so that they can also come with that particular output and they can also give the best output to their patients. Other than this, जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज आता है, जो मुझे लगता है कि it's a social cultural issue होता है. If I say about social culture, तो it's about the language. See, if we are working in the south and or if you are working in somewhere might be in northeast, so if our technology should be very much enabled with their languages also, so that they can adapt the technology very well. Other than this, again the cost is a very very important part. Again, then we have internet issues, we have electricity issues in the rural areas. As you said, 65% of the population is in rural areas, so we have to work lot for the rural areas for the health, जिसमें कि हमें हमारे पास अभी भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें वहाँ पे अवेलेबल नहीं है. We are talking about the telemedicines, we are talking about digital paths, but if we talk about the rural areas, so I don't think so कि अभी भी हम उतना पहुँच पाए हैं. So challenge हमारा यही है कि we have to work for that 65% too, along with the 35%.
Since you are talking about a 65% rural population, please let us know what is the advantage of public-private partnership. How is it going to work, and how it is going to work?
Of course, I think so. It would be a wonderful initiative if the public and the private can work together. And I think somewhere we have already started also. We are doing this thing. Yeah, we are doing through Ayushman, and public and private. Of course, we are working together with Ayushman. Other than this, there are many women welfare program is already running for the public and with the collaboration of the public and private. And अभी तो मैं I was in Nepal. I was representing Welsin Medicity Hospital in Nepal. There was a conference regarding that. तो वहाँ पे भी हम ये बात कर रहे थे कि गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट्स में वहाँ पे अभी भी बहुत एक्यूट डॉक्टर्स या बहुत ही पॉलिश्ड अभी उतना नहीं है नेपाल में. So even their government is also wants कि ठीक है we can collaborate with the private hospitals. So it will be a great initiative, and I think it will work wonders.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any question?
I think you are representing corporate lab. How to reduce the cost of investigation? What is the modus operandi of your business? Because I'm running a Suru lab, so I think it is a volume-based business, and every report is I think digital signature is there. How do you manage to get a human intervention, like pathologist, man behind machine? I think there are a lot of things are going on, lot of corporate labs are there. Ultimately, there is some disparity with the clinical picture, and they come to us to visit to a pathology lab who are run by a pathologist. There is a lot of disparity, and the people are used to get done from the corporate lab because it's very accessible, and it is a lot of marketing is going on. So, what is your modus operandi?
Sorry,
Let's
what's
want
your
to know. I'm Dr. P.K. Gupta. I'm a pathologist and representing IMA as well as a solo establishment. I have my own solo establishment.
So just
Stomach, enough of food for thought. So thank you very much to all our panelists for sharing your. Please do help yourself to the delicious, sumptuous, just on the opposite side of the hall, and we shall look forward to seeing you back here in approximately.
But for the layman, we should know about what is artificial intelligence, what is the Internet of Medical Things, IoMTs, what is the big data, what is the cloud computing, this type of things to be there. Particularly in artificial intelligence is to be there. In terms of the Internet of Medical Things, which is already in the previous session, Dr. Khanna has already told this type of things is to be already discussed some things to you. So we have certain questions in the minds of the layman on the hospital panels will be there, which we are discussing the hospital. Gopal Shukla ji. In a very simple, because he has been with the Center from hospital in so many years to be there. So I will just discuss about what is the shift in cyber security given the advent of the multi-cloud environment.
Yeah, previously the organizations were only using the single cloud environment, but nowadays the organizations are using multiple clouds hosted with multiple services and all. So the shift in the cyber security due to the multiple cloud users is verified. Second thing is you have to secure the access controls of the users and users' identities. New paradigms or new requirements are first one, as I previously said, zero trust. You should not trust. You should always verify and authorize the user that what things he could access on the cloud and the level of authentication you are.
Let's say the patient has a cardiac issue. It gives a particular notification that the patient has. The patient has specific issues with respect to cardiac, with respect to heart. So now, along with this, so what happens is, with us that the patient might get. Now, once you have prevented it, let's say we are able to prevent it fair enough. If you are not
time, how much who do it better. We also know how to make the better use of a doctor's time. You don't actually have a doctor to write different hospitals from 30 different countries. Cases come to us and then we do the reporting for them and send them back. Very good on 3 parameters. Number 1 is quality. We know how good the doctor is, what is their rate.
कि भाई पेशेंट का डेटा तो दोबारा हम रिकवर नहीं करा पाएंगे ना, whenever कंप्लीट जब इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम पे लेते हैं तो उसके लिए क्या प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स लगाते हैं हम लोग समय समय पे?
I think Shantanu will be better at answering this. I'll just tell you what we do from radiology point of view. We have a backup of a backup of a backup. We call it disaster recovery system. So there is something on the cloud, there is something on the physical hardware in my data center. I can't enter my data center. I do not have access to the data center. It sits in the same building, I don't have access. It needs 2 people key to enter physically in data center. And every 30 days they take a backup of all the data and then they keep it in physical storage and lock and key. So we never lose data.
As per government rules, I think 2 to 7 years, depending on the state you are in, there are some rules, but we don't delete data. It is kept like that, but I let Chandra answer the technical side.
We are using the physical.
And cloud, both. So I think what we call it as the BCP, business continuity planning, right? And of course, as you said, disaster recovery, very important part, very important part. Physical data we can use, cloud data, as he also said correctly, data, right? So if my corporate, like I settle Bangalore, I have the entire BCP done in Hyderabad. One in Hyderabad, other side is in Chennai. So that first one is, of course, we have in Bangalore, then we have in Hyderabad, and then we have it in the next one in Chennai. So if anything happens to the first site, second site will pick it up. If anything happens to the second site, then the third site will pick it up. I mean, it has never happened that the first, second, and third site altogether goes down. Touch wood, I don't think so that should ever happen. But again, as he said, we do not lose data. That is, there is no option in doing so. At least the ones which are on cloud. Physical, yes. But the point here is the majority of the data gets lost while you're doing a data migration. When you are moving to a new application or anything, when the data migration is happening, that is the time when we lose a lot of data. If that is also taken into consideration, and when we are implementing a new application, at that time, if we know that, okay, which cloud are they using and what cloud do we have, there are different clouds in the market. There is Azure, there is AWS, these are the main key players. So if you know that, let's say one of my application which is getting rolled out, that is using AWS and we are using Azure. So you have to plan it out properly how we migrate the data from one cloud to another, and we don't lose out of the data.
Okay.
Anything else?
Anybody from the audience? Open it to the audience.
I already told the audience is to be there because the audience is replying in type of things.
This opportunity to thank all you gentlemen for coming today and sharing your experience with us on all of the topics that are at the headlines every now and then, every day. So thank you very much for coming and being a part of the last discussion today. Thank you, gentlemen.